because you know what? We're going to be crowning a world champion today. A world championship team will be crowned today. Welcome if you're just joining us.
Invest, if you're just only coming, there's a lot of good TF2. You missed a lot already.
Yep.
The last couple of days have been pretty insane, even though, there hasn't been that many insane upsets. Probably the biggest one, Ascent going out much earlier than they would otherwise to a team which only really qualified a couple of days ago.
Yeah, my very good friend Wyatt River, a.k.a. Mela, who has revived the Ascent brand. Sorry, dude. He probably doesn't care. He's probably like, whatever, dude.
It's just unlucky, really,
dude. Luck of the draw, dude.
Don't even care.
Jokes aside, that was a team that they had a lot of good play and bright spots, but they're gone. That's it. It's I-Series, Stuff doesn't always work out the way you want it to.
High-pressure games, and if you make those little kind of mistakes, eventually, on land, they're going to build up and you're not going to come to the next day.
Yeah. So, they had an all right showing, but, what else? What are some of the sort of smaller stories that we've been talking about? And we'll talk after this of, what we're looking for later today. But Lowpander come to mind. If you didn't watch yesterday, we saw a lot of Lowpander in the lower bracket final.
Yeah.
And they were a team also that people were expecting to sort of come out strong, but they kind of hobbled their way and limped their way to the lower bracket final. They're going to be starting us off today in the lower bracket final, but talk to me about that. They've underperformed according to the couch here.
Yeah, well, if you look at the online results, everyone was expecting a clear third place from Lowpander. I wouldn't have thought anyone apart from a few real dedicated fans were thinking they'd be able to really contest with Seven or Swift. Even, in the regular season, when Lowpander went against a weakened Seven, when they played with Paddy and all kinds of weird things were going on with the team.
Yep.
Seven was still basically just a way stronger team. But in terms of, the middle pack kind of teams, your Antic, your Ascent, your Lowpander, everyone was expecting Lowpander to be easily the best of those.
Yeah.
Quite a considerable skill difference between Antic and Lowpander. But what we saw at LAN was, you can't say the opposite, but it was way messier than I would have expected. The Antic game with Lowpander last night. Yep, Lowpander ended up bringing the win. But the first map, they looked very shaky. There was a good couple points in the second map where I think they were also looking really shaky. And, I don't know, a couple different things would have happened. I think Antic would have probably taken it in 2 maps. It would have never gone to the third, and we wouldn't have Lowpander here now.
Yeah. I'll tell you something. I'll let you in on some top secret behind-the-scenes knowledge. I was chatting to Swift last night because they were done fairly early. And I was chatting to, Sam Z and a couple of the guys, and we were talking about Lowpander and how they've done, because we were just talking about all the teams.
Yeah.
And, coming into this tournament, people looked at Lowpander. They're a team that have sort of this pedigree of Highlander, but they've really earned their way. They're not like a Highlander team as such. They've really earned their way through the ranks of ETF2L.
Definitely.
They've been very impressive. A lot of them have made a very impressive switch over, so to speak, to sixes like Mookie and whatnot. Hildreth, who's like a super veteran anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But talking to Swift last night, we were just kind of asking, what do you think's going on with those guys? And they were saying that we talk about some of their kind of weird plays and how they mix things up a lot. They play with the banners. They'll run sniper or heavy to mid.
Yeah.
They like to switch things up and throw these wild cards. But what Swift was saying was that their playbook is so limited. I hate to reuse that term playbook, but there's just 2 or 3 little things that they like to do. It's not like they're ad-libbing at all times.
Yeah.
It's that they have these sort of strange plays that they do over and over again.
Yeah.
They like to run the sniper to mid on Gullywash, for example. They like to bring a heavy to mid on Reckoner to shut down jumpers, for example. But beyond that, there's not a lot. It's not like they're reinventing the wheel or something.
Yeah, well, this is kind of what was mentioned a couple times before. The initial version of Lowpander a couple of seasons ago, you couldn't ever really say that for, because it seemed that a lot of the time, at least what Mookie individually was doing was purely random. People always joke the fact that, they reckon when Mookie respawned, he just pressed the random key, and whatever class it was, he just went for it, saw what would happen, Yeah. But, there's been a gradual transition over the last couple of seasons to a much more standard style. They're still a team that makes the most out of the rule set and the whitelist, They still want to kind of create an advantage from whatever's allowed within the game itself.
Yep.
But in terms of, like I said, specifically Mookie in the off-classing, it's been getting much more standard, much more like what we see other teams regularly use, but with just a slight tendency to off-class rather than a permanent off-class, permanent, you know, spies where there should never be spies, you know, random engineers pushing out. Like, this all things we've seen in previous seasons, but these days, you know, like, you look over the course of LAN, there's not been a great deal. The only real time I can see where they have a real permanent off-class is when they play Viaduct, where they like to have Mr. Epic perma-sniping, and will frequently switch up Mookie between Scout and Roamer, depending on, like, the situation. But apart from that, like, all you're really seeing is some players who are quite ready to off-class when it's sensible, but are not permanently doing it.
Yeah.
And I think I can see what Swift is saying, you know?
Yeah.
After a certain point, that kind of becomes predictable.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, these are top-level teams. You know, you can't just... Well, we do this later, but for the most part, you can't just do the same thing over and over again and have it work.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen a little bit, though, this weekend.
Well, to a degree, yeah.
But that's a different topic. As I said, welcome. Hey, if you're just joining us, I know it's a super strange hour over in North America where I come from. I'm not from around here, believe it or not.
Really?
No, I'm from a couple hours away.
You fit right in.
Many hours away. But we're glad that you're here with us. We're getting ready. The first match of today is going to be the lower bracket final. Like, I'm hearing people warming up right in my ear here. We don't have the game up because we have Twitch chat. So Twitch chat, maybe now would be a good time to tell us, do you have predictions for today? Who do you think is going to progress? Who do you think is going to get through the lower bracket final and make it to the grand finals? We're going to have the grand finals later today on the esports stage here at the NEC. That's at 3 o'clock local time, I believe, scheduled, and we're all very excited about that. The return to the main stage for TF2. It's been a while.
I'm feeling it, considering everything that happened last year, you know, a little bit of sadder kind of LAN, not quite the same experience.
Yeah.
Getting TF2 up on that big stage, getting the crowd all gathered around, it makes such a huge difference to just the atmosphere at LAN. And I think that comes through to the players, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, there's so much to be fighting for at LAN, but yeah, they want to be able to get in those photos and, you know, get the pride and say that they were here on stage at the NEC.
They want to be.
This is our first time on a stage at the NEC.
Yeah.
Yeah, for LAN. Because, I mean, we were in Coventry the year before last.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, it was Coventry, right?
Yeah, it was Eureka.
Yeah. So, yeah, getting some predictions. I think people are still, like, either waking up in Twitch chat or they're up really late.
This is, I think a lot of people, this is their little wake up, have a drink, have some toast or something.
Yeah.
Have it on in the background.
Lay in bed, yeah. I can remember for I-55, it would have been that it was just such a crazy hour to have to, like, in North America. Even for me, as far east as you can be in North America, it's a strange hour to, like, stay up. I had to nap and then wake up at, like, 7 a.m. to, like...
I've done the exact same thing before for ESEA Grand Finals, and it's a weird experience.
Yeah, it's nice. That's why we like it, when we bring North America and Europe together. Not that a lot of North America came... But that's another discussion. That's another forum thread for another time.
Do they care?
Yeah. Do they care?
Do they care?
Guys, do they care? Now, there were a lot of people who wanted to be here. There are a lot of people, I mean, we've got a great burgeoning scene. If you're watching this right now and you're someone who maybe hasn't watched TF2 in a few years, there were a lot of people that wanted to come here to Europe to play who couldn't necessarily make it. Some NA teams that wanted to do it, and it's expensive.
It's the money thing, but it's also like the preparation. You know, you gotta prepare, like, you know, months in advance really if you want to keep things sensible. Anything more than a couple months in, you know, your flights are going to be way higher, like your hotels are going to be way higher.
Yep.
It's, you know, you got to be, like, so prepared for things, and you can kind of see, especially if teams aren't quite confident as well, like, there's a lot you have to invest in order to be able to get here. And, you know, if you don't know if you're going to be able to, like, put in a good performance, you can understand why teams aren't always, you know, absolutely throwing themselves at it.
Yeah, true. Shout out to my boy Marmaduke Grills, by the way. What's up, dude? Yeah, we have players waking up here in the venue as well. We tried to, I mean, it's LAN, right? What happens at LAN stays at LAN, but there are some players who are feeling it this morning, we'll say.
Yes, definitely. There were
some more than others.
Exactly. Without naming names, Where
There's
just
an
a little bit-
anime-loving soldier who's hurting.
without naming any names, he
Yeah.
loves anime though. For hire.
Yeah.
That little area behind the crowd where they have the big bar and a couple places to eat.
Yep.
That was still going pretty live with an awful lot of TF2 people about 4 a.m. this morning when
Yeah.
they closed it.
You were there.
Tried to shake people out.
Yep.
Um,
Drinking responsibly, of course.
exactly.
Alcohol is poison to the human body. We all know that.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people know that
Yeah.
better than others today, yeah.
Yes. Some people are feeling that for the first time.
Exactly. a lot
Maybe
of
not the
people-
first time.
You
First
hope
time this
not.
weekend, maybe.
Yeah. Either way, I'm hoping, considering the state of some of the people, I'm hoping to not have an epsilon.
Yeah. True. If you remember watching a few years ago, boy,
Yeah, see,
Epsilon, we had our first ever grand final with an asleep team playing.
See, that
Some
was the
pacing.
land. I always remember that because there was a terrible hurricane. The finals never happened. Never happened.
Very sad.
Very sad.
There's an asterisk in the history books.
Exactly.
Nothing happened. What happened? Don't tell that to Grant Vincent, though.
No.
I think he remembers it differently.
I think he does, yeah, to be honest.
Yeah, if we, people are saying, Banny's a huge anime fan. Boy, let me tell you. What I was going to say is oh, and yeah, by the way, guys, yeah, we do drink alcohol. So what? We're cool.
Good lord.
We're cool.
Down with the kids.
Yeah.
You don't care.
Down with the kids. Remember, guys, you're not allowed to drink alcohol unless you're of legal age, and that's a very important thing. That's the law.
It is.
What else? What else do we want to talk about? We're just starting to kind of loose and casual here on the little pre-show. We got some casters kind of standing by, you know?
Yeah, preparing
Sitting,
this,
standing
preparing
by.
that. I believe people are still working on getting the team camera set up as well. to
Oh,
get
yeah,
even
true.
more production
How
value.
many we got in
today.
server, Dirty Dogs? We have people in server yet? How close are we getting here? 12 in server? Well, listen, guys, I mean, even though we're kind of taking it casual, I know we're wearing nice clothes, but, you know, we're chilling. We're on the couch and whatever. We have such good TF2. I mean, if you're just tuning in, if you saw the system announcement today or whatnot, we had such good TF2 6v6 yesterday. There was a lot of screaming, a lot of crazy plays, a lot of excitement. It really was good. And you get the sense that, I mean, we say it every year that LAN is really good, but it's not lip service. It really has been great. It really has.
It's like LAN is such a different experience to online play in every single positive way you could ever see that. Like, it's so much more exciting to watch, to play in. Like, it's the kind of plays happen on LAN that you just don't see online, or at least the context isn't the same. So people get so more excited for it. You know, that crowd over there, I'm certain during the grand final, they're just going to be screaming at basically everything.
Yeah, they're already starting in with the dance music right now. You can probably hear.
It's solid dance music.
It's so loud. It's solid.
Solid.
We're gonna probably go dance when this first series starts. One
Solid
thing
dance.
they like to do at the NEC is they like to play drum and bass really loud when we're talking. They can hear it. I'm sure. Yeah, the sour pleases are starting in chat. Can we get some sour please going? We're not going to be able to see it here because we don't have better TTV installed, but can we get some dancing started? That'll wake you guys up. We have wub wubs, but those who are smart, if you don't have the better TTV or Franker Faces plug-in or add-on for your browser, it's a cool Twitch thing, and it lets you dance. That's all I'm trying to say.
Dancing can be good.
Dance. Dance, dance. Dance, dance. How you guys doing, casters? You're not on camera yet, but you doing all right? I don't know. Production probably can't hear you. I doubt it, but how are you doing? I'll pass on the message.
Yeah, we're doing great. I mean,
how you doing, Cornpop?
I'm just spamming in Twitch chat, so, you know.
Oh, they are low. Yeah, we can hear them. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're spamming Twitch chat?
Well, I'm not spamming. I'm just having a good talk with the boys online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's going on in there? What's the big story in Twitch chat today?
Well, when we had some, some fans going on, it seemed like Swift were the favorites in Twitch chat.
Oh, yeah?
Which is
In Swift chat? Is that what you said?
I may have by accident, but that's different from yesterday where we saw there weren't a lot of Swift fans. Not gonna lie. No.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Crowd was very pro 7 in the upper bracket.
That I remember the shouting contest.
Yeah.
The Swift fan got demolished.
Why do people always just like to cheer for the best or the favorite. Does nobody cheer for the underdog anymore?
Oh,
That's
no.
what I'm
I don't
wondering.
know.
Turbo?
No, I wouldn't say that. Or if anything, I would say they usually vote for the underdog. It's mainly the national pride. I think the fact that Banny's in there, we're like, oh yeah, another one for EU. Woo!
That's boring, North America. You can't just cheer for the one North American player. That's so predictable.
See, this is the thing. I think if it was 2 European teams, it would be a little bit more kind of, a little bit more out there. But this is the thing with Swift this is their big mistake,
Yeah.
If you bring in the
Bringing
American,
in this fool
suddenly,
from California.
the entirety of Europe is like, right, well, we know who we're going for then.
Yeah. I mean, try to imagine if there was no Banny, who would you be cheering for then? That's the responsible thing to do. I mean, look, Swift, they've got TF2 Hall of Fame legend Samsey. TF2 hunk Samsey.
Yeah.
Samsey was we were trying to convince Samsey yesterday to come here and sit on the couch and just talk smack on everyone.
Just not even like in between games, we'll just like start a stream up live just for him.
Yes. The side stream. Maybe we'll start doing the TFTV 2 stream from, remember a couple years ago, Shintaz and Coleman?
The Shintaz and Coleman cast
the famous second stream.
That was something special.
Can we create an Essentials TF2 channel just for Sam to sit down with Ast or someone? Just
Considering some of the stuff I heard them saying, I think Twitch Chat would be interested to hear.
I think they do. If you remember the Shintaz, yeah, see some people in chat remember. If you do, give some love. Give us a Coleman-related emote. Coleman the legend. I hear they're inducting Coleman in the Hall of Fame, I think, next year, I heard.
I'm pretty sure. I can guarantee anyone in LAN, anyone in Twitch Chat who's been to LAN before will have a drunk Coleman story.
Yeah.
Everyone has one.
But he's a gentle giant.
He is.
He's got a heart of gold, that
Bless
Coleman.
him. It's the classic, very large, shouty Welshman who's actually just very friendly.
Yeah. We're being overrun by Welshmen, I feel like. We had Mikey A here for hours and hours yesterday. We've got Arch Rhythm on sound. He's Welsh as well. And, yeah, there's probably some other people here named, like...
We got Sim, who's Scottish,
Quads.
but that's basically Welsh.
Oh, yeah, true. I wouldn't say that to him, to his face.
No.
If you're just joining us, we want to welcome you. We are just kind of bantering, but we have a grand final that's coming later on today. We're going to work our way through the end of this lower bracket final, starting very soon, actually.
Yeah.
We're just kind of getting ready and, ensuring everything. So if you had to give a prediction, who do you think's getting through the lower bracket final? Are you feeling Lowpander or not?
I'm thinking just based on, like, the offline results and the online results, really. Like, I can't see it going any other way than Swift.
Really?
Like, I do think a lot will come down to the pick bans, especially things like if Swift allow Reckoner to get through. We've already seen Lowpander perfectly happy to play Reckoner, and because Reckoner's quite a new map and Swift are basically a pug team that haven't really scrimmed that much, I can't imagine they're going to be particularly prepared for weird things happening on Reckoner.
Yeah, well, let me ask you a better question. What's the key, what's the secret going to be for Lowpander if they want to get through? Is it all about just, do they want to sort of come up with new plays and surprise plays and, have new stuff to bring? Or do they just want to generally step up their game in sort of a vanilla style?
I think their best plan of attack is to stick to a degree with the kind of plays they have, but work out a better way of making it happen. Like we always say about the sniper on mid on Gully Wash Big Door. When they played Swift before, they would put Mookie on sniper, they'd put him on Big Door, and then more mids than not, Banny would just do this same bomb over, Mookie would go down, and it's just like, you can't. But the one mid where they just had a sniper protecting Mookie, Banny got completely denied because that jump is a full commit into Big Door. Like, there's, like you're using 2 rockets, you're using health,
There's no getting out. It's very difficult to get into lobby then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if they can find this way of, like, dealing with the way the Swift is trying to deal with the mids, and, like, that little thing of just delaying a little bit further, a little bit longer on the ground, having a scout do some denying, and then suddenly, like, that mid, when Mookie's able to, like, just do those body shots. Like, the headshots don't even matter that much because most of the time he's running the Machina.
Right.
And now 173 damage is just enough to annihilate a soldier so he can't really jump, or take down a demo, or take down a scout. And the second you deny that initial counter to the sniper and then create some advantage yourself, Swift then have to decide between, do we give up the high ground to go chase Mookie? Do we try and play on our floor? Do we try and take their side? Like, the sniper can still get us. Like, I think things like that. I think if Lowpander can find a way to react to Swift's kind of counter, I think they'll be able to make it work. But if it's going to be a continuation of what we've seen in some other games, where they just keep trying it and kind of only after about 3 or 4 rounds start making the changes, I think it's just going to go all the way to Swift.
I think I guess we're going to have the pick banning happening soon. Production is that very soon, we hope. It'll be interesting to see how the map picking and banning goes down.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, coming into the tournament, pick ban thought process is different than when you've already played this team now several times. And I'm thinking, like, if you're Swift, are you almost going to be forcing Lowpander to play those maps that, like Gully, like we were just talking about, and sort of almost force them to do it differently? Do you know what I mean? Do you, if you're Swift, do you almost want to play Gully because you feel like you know how to deal with it?
Yeah. It makes sense because unless Lowpander have managed to create something basically overnight, if you force them into a situation where you can counter them and they have to come up with stuff on the spot, that's when things can kind of fall to pieces, you know? Like, it takes an awful lot to be able to come up with a completely new idea for how you want to run your mid and execute it successfully over the course of literally about 30 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
That kind of pressure, I could see that probably making sense, but I think really when it comes to pick bans, it'll be similar to when we saw Antic earlier. Yesterday. I think they're just going to try and keep it with some pretty classic maps.
Classic. How about Freight? Or is that in the pool?
I don't think it is actually this time.
No, we're not doing Freight.
Guaranteed next year. Don't worry.
No. Warpath.
Warpath.
You an old school dude? Were you around? Did you play the
Not
game?
for Warpath.
No. Warpath is a classic. I can't say I played a lot of Warpath, but any of the real old school players will remember CP Warpath. So, Swift have the advantage here in terms of, the upper hand, or however you want to call it, the advantage in the pick ban, as you guys can see here. They're not doing that yet. Now, people are saying I'm pretending to be old school. All I'm going to say is go to my profile and look at my badge. You know what day I started playing TF2?
1923.
Yes. Good night, everybody. December 24th, 2007.
That's
now, I'm not saying I'm good at the game, but you can't tell me I'm not old school in terms of just date alone.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. How long have you been with us in the TF2 cult?
A lowly, probably 3.5 years.
Yeah. Cool. You've been
Just
doing a
a
hell of a
young
job.
whippersnapper.
Can we give some love to Epley, by the way, for his wicked analysis all weekend long? I mean, he hasn't gotten any love. Crowd, can we clap a little bit? Epley's been doing a great job, hasn't he, with his analysis here on the couch? What a dude.
It's a lovely crowd.
A lot of people, I mean, I've seen you do some little things. Like I saw you for the Hugs TF thing, and you did a really nice job on that and whatnot, but I haven't seen you do a whole lot of stuff like this, and so I didn't know what to expect, but it's been great. He gets it, doesn't he? Twitch chat's joining in, too.
This is what happens.
He's done all right, mate.
I said, before this, mostly just been, a couple episodes of Pirate Radio here and there, and they had a spot open, thought we'd see what happened. It's such a different experience of LAN, doing it from, like, the production side of things.
Yeah.
And it's great, like, getting to meet, especially because a lot of people doing it this year are different people.
Right.
You get to meet those kind of different people at LAN. And I think literally everyone's just so far, like, I've been so impressed. Like, a lot of people turned up, and I wasn't sure quite what to expect. Like, before I only knew Ro from, like, kind of, random things on TF2, whatever.
Posts, yeah.
And he turns up to LAN, and that dude's sick.
Yeah.
I absolutely love his casting. Like, Ro and Ombrak,
it was great.
they're so good together.
Yeah.
And Cornpop as well. And obviously TurboTabs, he doesn't get too much praise. He's a veteran.
Turbo's here
He's
also.
been doing this for years. Everyone knows TurboTabs now. He's the king.
He's taking a bow. Don't get carried away there, bud.
Steady on.
No, nobody's permanent. We're getting ready for the pick ban here, guys, for this first series of the day, which is going to be Swift, as we said, and Lowpander. If you're just joining us, welcome. I mean, we're spreading the love. Who else do we give love to here? I mean, this is just when we this is like cry time when we all hug it out,
I think you got to give some love to the production guys who don't get to be on camera,
Yeah, that's true. The thankless job of production.
The little voices in our ears, actually.
Yeah, we've got Blackout John, and we've got Wolf Machina. Oh, Blackout John's telling us we're getting ready. We'll have a chance to thank everyone and do all our shout-outs and call-outs later today. We hope you'll be with us for the grand final later on today. But for now, we're going to cross out some maps. We're going to choose some maps. And so, like I said, I mean, you know, if you don't know too much about LAN and about competitive, this might seem like a minor part of it to you. We have already now Product banned first, not a huge surprise. But this is a big deal. The pick ban is really a bigger deal than it may seem like to some people at home. You might be saying, well, who cares what map you play? But, you know, the first map that you play especially is important because you want to open on a good foot. Ideally, you want to win that first map. You don't want to fall behind quickly.
Yeah.
You know, certain teams are more or less comfortable with certain maps. Now, we have Snakewater banned by Lowpander. I mean, I'm not trying to tell the future here, but it feels like we are heading toward those few Lowpander maps that we talked about.
Yeah.
We'll see how this shakes out, but
I think it makes sense for Swift to ban Viaduct. Like, if I was Swift, I would be thinking either Viaduct or Reckoner, immediate, like, first ban.
yeah.
I suppose their logic is maybe they're just a little bit more comfortable on Reckoner because it's 5 CP. You don't have to deal with weird Koth kind of perma off-classing is a little bit different on Viaduct. And kind of like I said yesterday with the Lowpander Antic game, the way that Lowpander play Viaduct with the perma sniper, with mr.epic like hitting the shots that he does, even if you think you can beat it, it's annoying to play against.
It's scary because
exactly.
Snipers can be so streaky.
Well, this is the thing as well, especially like on land. Like, if you have that sniper who's just hitting nutty shots, like, the other team could be playing really, really well, but those shots are just going to like carry completely through.
It's terrifying, yeah. So it's like you don't know. It's like a super dice roll.
Yeah, basically.
Coin flip, right? I guess I should say. The first map has been picked, and it's Granary by Lowpander. Is this almost kind of like an FU in the face of? What do you think of that?
That's I think it's an interesting pick. We haven't really seen much of Lowpander.
I don't
on
think
Granary,
we've seen them once on Granary.
No, I'm trying to think.
But we have seen Swift on Granary.
Yes.
More than once, I think. Haven't we? Or at least once.
At least once, definitely. If I was going to just, like, you know, sit there and guess, I would say probably that Granary favors Swift more than Lowpander, but clearly Lowpander's pretty confident.
Swift is picking Gully. That's not a massive surprise. They've played pretty well.
Yeah, well.
We talked about that. I mean, that was our prediction. They want to maybe pick Gully and force Lowpander to come up with some new tactics.
Exactly. Like, you know, that's really going to be a case of on Gully Wash. If Lowpander just do that same thing over and over, like, it's just not going
Swift
to work.
will be farming.
Exactly. No, Swift will just take him to town, basically.
Yeah. Pound Town.
More or less.
Is the town, I think, where they're trying to go. So we'll have a couple more bans now, and then we'll have the potential deciding map. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone wants to see Lowpander just get farmed on Gully, but we'll see how it shakes down. I mean, I believe in them. I mean, everything's on the line today, you know what I mean? They've got this is it.
The thing is, like, Lowpander, regardless of, like, their quirkiness in terms of how they play, they have incredibly strong players. They could play however they want, really.
Yeah.
Like, they have the players with, like, the DM and the game sense to contest basically any team out there.
Yeah, Mookie's had a great LAN. Hildreth is like has played 25 friggin' LANs for TF2.
Exactly. mr.epic and Funds are like DM gods, basically. Like, their impact on the team is almost always just so huge. And if you can get those two just, like, getting active, they will just carry a game.
So our prediction has perhaps come to fruition. The last map ban by Swift was Badlands, which leaves the potential deciding map as Reckoner. And so as we've predicted, those two maps, Gully Wash and Reckoner especially, are maps where Lowpander have their little sort of plays that they've drawn up. And so it almost does feel like Swift is saying, all right, what do you got?
Basically.
You know?
Well, it makes sense. You know, like I said, the Swift guys said to you very confidently, we know the Lowpander plays, and they don't really have a lot to fall back on after that. It kind of makes sense to force them into, you know, like, if Lowpander sit there, they make their plays and it doesn't work, it's going to knock them off balance. Maybe that's like what Swift are trying to go for here, because, like, before maybe one of the games yesterday, you'd be looking at these maps and you'd be thinking Swift have picked what should be Lowpander maps,
Right.
and kind of vice versa.
Right.
But
Yep. Totally.
considering, like, you know, that conversation, the kind of what you can imagine the Swift mentality is, like I said, they're such confident players. The team is... I think one of the reasons the team works so well is because they are just so confident of their play at all times. And I think that's kind of showing in the bans as well. They know they can win these maps. They know they can force Lowpander to have to change things.
Yeah. Now, another thought has crossed my mind. You might like this if you're a Lowpander fan. What if Lowpander are just baiting this whole time? What if Lowpander do have a whole new world of tactics and strategies for these maps, and they're playing the bait play perfectly? Twitch chat?
That
Feebly?
would be
Amazing.
one insane land story.
Yeah.
If they've just been there just like, oh no, oh, we're so
Playing
lost, what do we
possum.
do?
Yeah.
And then suddenly there's like, all right, last day of land, let's toggle on.
That's
let's
some
work it
mind
out.
game stuff.
It's always possible. I said, you know,
It's
Lowpander
possible.
don't necessarily, like, they're not a conventional team. They,
No.
you know, they might just be thinking, last day of LAN, let's, like, turn it on. And, like, with a team like Swift, they've got big personalities, let's say. Like,
Yep.
they're the kind of team where it's not so much how the game's going, but, like, just weird things in a game are more likely to throw them off balance than a lot of other teams and create, you know, a certain amount of discord between the team in terms of comms. And if like Lowpander could use that to throw Swift off balance.
Yeah,
knows?
I mean, it's an interesting idea. I mean, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I know the maps have been chosen now, and so it is best of 3. You're not stupid at home in the crowd. You get that part.
You get it.
Yeah, the call in a few minutes here. Well, I'll tell you what. It looks like we have a lot of. Oh no, we're not quite ready yet. Call's going to be Corny and Turby.
Turby.
What?
Turby.
What am I talking about?
No idea. It's early. It's okay.
What kind of copy pastas you got today, Twitch? What do you got for us? Huh? Let's see it. Let's have a look. You have to say some serious stuff too. I mean, we're looking forward to a grand final later today with a 7,500-pound prize pool, which is just spectacular and amazing. And we'll be mentioning, some of the sponsors that have helped make that possible.
Yeah.
Before we're done here today.
They'll get that
It's
time.
nice to play for money, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I said, it, like, compared to, other esports, you can argue it doesn't really matter as much. But, like, in TF2, this is a significant amount of money. And it's just, obviously, the majority of people play TF2 for the love. But the money makes it so much more reliable for you to get to other events. That's almost kind of what people are playing for. The ability, the next big LAN. We can now go to there without having to worry about things. We can try and keep things going. It's one of the mentalities behind the 7 brand as it was initially formed, to try and be able to win competitions and stay together and use that kind of prize money to take themselves to future lands.
Yeah. There may be
you can
some
have a
North
holiday.
American lands coming up soon.
You never know. It could happen.
Yeah.
It could be a possible thing, which I think is actually already...
I feel like there might be one definitely coming in North
Yeah.
America. The TF2 community is not dead. People like to use that word dead a lot. Get a life. Come on, Reddit. Get a life.
Cheer up, mates. It's not all bad. Sometimes people have some
Cheer
fun.
up. I like that response.
It's all right.
Cheer up, mates. Come on, guys. I mean, it's always been a community thing. The community has come together to make this production. They're all sitting there behind the tables and whatnot, and we're sitting here and sitting there. The fans have come together. There's people that have come from far and wide. There are people here from Singapore just to watch, from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, that have come to England just to watch.
Yeah.
It's really spectacular, and it's a cool thing. It's an amazing thing. Obviously all over Europe as well, but people come a long way for this. If you've never come to LAN, guess what? I mean, we're not going anywhere. Maybe plan your trip for next year. It's a fantastic, amazing experience. Even if you're just watching, you don't want to bring a PC.
It is.
It's awesome.
It's such, like I said, it's such a different kind of insight to how TF2 works, because it's quite funny. I knew a couple of people who came to this LAN. It was their very first one.
Yeah.
And they're pretty low-level players. They were super nervous about meeting everyone. They were really uncertain. Oh, will the Prem players think I'm weird or something? No.
No.
That doesn't happen in TF2. You can walk up to anyone.
Literally can.
anyone.
Yeah.
And they will just be the most friendly person, happy to basically do whatever, go for a drink, have a chat about whatever. It's
Absolutely.
It's such a close-knit community, which only can really happen when you've got a group this size, you know? It's a pretty nice level of not so big that you kind of lose that kind of intimate part of it. As I said, you can go to LAN and you can get to know basically everyone there.
Yeah.
And it's such a great feeling community.
It is. If you want to sit down next to Ali and just say, "You are awesome. I love you. You're the best demo in the world," you can do that. He'll be like, "Thanks,
you can
man."
do that.
Yeah.
You can do that. I saw someone last night chase Happy Cool down for about 20 minutes.
Really?
Just to basically be able to have a little conversation about him, about how he met him 2 years ago, and it was great.
Happy's here. I didn't even see him.
No, Happy was basically in the old drinking area for about 8 hours last night.
Really?
Yeah.
We have fun. If you're not legal drinking age, you still have fun. There are people here that I've met that are not close to the drinking age yet, but they've been having a blast. Just sitting here and watching, it's the energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get weepy on us, but like it's just such a, you feel the love and you feel the energy, don't you?
It is such a different experience. It's like, you know, you're watching the same game as you would at home, but everyone's so much more excited for it. Like, you know, you're there with people who have also played the game for, I don't know, 5, 6, whatever years.
Yeah.
Like, you've all got this, like, strong common interest, and you're all just really excited to, like, follow the results of the tournament.
Yeah, people are making their signs and stuff. There's cosplayers. There's a great medic cosplayer here. It's awesome. Come to LAN. But anyway, enough of us. We've got enough players in server right now that we're going to kick it over to our boys at the casting desk. That is TurboTabs and that is Cornpop. And they're going to take us through this lower bracket final. Take it away.
Thanks, Getaway. Yeah, we're here on the lower bracket final, TurboTabs. It's an exciting time because it's these top 3 teams, 2 of the top 3 teams now, and the winner or the loser goes home. The winner goes to grand finals.
This is just what I've been waiting for, Cornpop. All those lower cast games and stuff like that, working my way up. I'm kind of climbing the ladder myself, and finally I'm here to cast what could be potentially the second seed for one of these 2 teams.
Yeah, exactly. So we have 11 players on the server. We're going live really quickly here. Our first map is Granary, and you and I actually already casted a really, really good Granary match earlier on in this event. I think day 1, our first cast together was a close Granary match. So I'm actually excited. Usually I'm not a big Granary fan, I'm not going to lie. But this event has kind of swayed my opinion on the map.
Yeah. I think it was the 7 and Ascent game, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
that was
Yes.
I mean, straight out of the gate, great games, and hopefully we're going to finish on some great games. Now, a little bit before, whilst they were doing a bit of the map picking bands, me and you were just having like a little kind of play like, oh, they're going to pick this map, they're going to pick that map. We couldn't be more wrong.
No, we got it so wrong. Oh, my gosh.
I mean, when we saw Granary come out, I was a little, by Lowpander, no less, I was a little confused because it's a map that kind of lends itself to not off-classing because it's such a long map that you can't pick heavy because it takes too long to get to mid, can't pick sniper because the sight lines are rubbish and it takes too long to get to mid, pyro, spy, yada yada yada. You can only really do the classes that are really good at mobility, which is the the basic cookie cutter lineups. The only thing I can really think of that's like out of the box with Lowpander that they might shock SVIFT with is sometimes they won't go to mid.
Oh.
Yeah, they won't go to mid, and they'll actually run an engineer. They maybe accept the fact that they can't get these classes to mid quick enough, and they'll just go to second. And honestly, that's like really out of the box, like fancy, strategies. Really, it's completely unheard of, and I feel like it's a brilliant move if they do it against a team that's better than them. I mean, Granary is a map that lends itself to kind of snowballing, so. If you get that first, usually you kind of wipe out the team on mid and then steamroll them all the way to last. But if you never get that wipe on mid and you start the stalemates immediately and try to just claw away at them, and with the engineer on your side as well, you've kind of got like a backbone of defense that is really unheard of in 5CP. Like if I was SVIFT, I would be a bit scared of that.
Well, it's good to know that just as I've started to come around on Granary, Lowpander are going to completely crush that for me and prove once again why I don't seem to like this map.
Keep in mind, this is just predictions, though.
Yes,
they did this
course,
once.
Of course.
They did this once against 7, like in an online tournament. So, I mean, maybe they can remember that still, but I I mean, they could just take the basic old mid. I think they've been, like equally touched upon, they've kind of been going back to the regular classes again, and I think this was from a time where they were really hammering home the, oh, we want to use the flex class and all this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they really have come. They kind of, in my mind, when they first kind of came onto the scene, they were just this huge gimmick team that came in, and they were always abusing off classes and unlocks and all these things that NA players always make fun of EU players for.
Yeah.
But I think they've come around to like a real solid team that can play well on the main classes and on the off classes.
Yeah.
Like they can play the gimmicks well, and they can play just regular TF2 really well, and that's why they're in this lower bracket final.
Yeah, the best of both worlds. It was kind of a front in a way for the gimmicks, because I mean, at first it was for fun, but as the kind of a lot of people cited the gimmicks as like the main thing that was winning these games, when really like the big threats is Ubers and Mr.Epic. These two players are absolute beasts on this team. They bring the damage, they bring the kills, they don't need any support. They are the boogeyman that SVIFT are going to be checking their closets, you know, before they go to sleep, because they're just terrifying.
Yeah, and one thing, if they're wanting to play with off classes here tonight, one thing I know we see often in NA, well, maybe not often, but every now and again, is this is a big map to push last with a heavy. I've seen a lot. Because it's so open and there's just so much space, you can walk a heavy, and assuming you're stalemating, you can get the heavy there in time. You can really just kind of walk them in, and once there's an enemy heavy pushing your last, that's a whole lot of health you got to take down. And it can be really challenging to stop that push. But I think we're about to go live, if I'm reading this correctly.
Yep, any second now. I think they're just doing that that little pre-time before they actually do kick things off. But we'll go straight into the game. We're going to bring you to our first map of the best of three, the lower bracket, upper bracket. Wait, lower bracket final?
Lower bracket final.
Lower bracket final. We
There
got
you
there
go.
eventually. First map, Granary, SVIFT versus Lowpander. What's happening on mid?
Well, Mookie's going to be running to it as heavy, but he's going to be a little bit slow as he is on that class. No frag's gone down just yet. Solentis with a big bomb does get denied by mr.epic, so the first frag. Uber's taking a lot too. Bandy going with the second bomb, but again gets denied. Samsy finds Ubers from behind, so that soldier threat's getting taken out very quickly. Fun's pistol down. Samsy gets that frag again, but this heavy, I'm not sure it's too consequential. Regardless, the team seems to have taken control of this mid. SVIFT aren't giving it up just yet, and Samsy's won a 1v1 with mr.epic, and now he's on ground, but thankfully Mookie is able to take down that scout threat, so it's a 3-on-3 still fighting on mid. Neither team wants to give it up. There's still a heavy as well, and they gotta watch out for Mookie. He doesn't have a lot of health and does get spammed down by Ali in the end. Here comes the Uber charge out of Raptor Crown, popping in kind, so a very long mid fight we have so far. Crown's in a bit of danger though. There is Aston Ali trying to spam around him. As soon as Uber charge runs out, he has to be in a good position, and I think he has backed off smartly, but this is gonna be a swift mid.
Yeah, you can also see the disadvantage of running the heavy weapons guy there. Not only is he slow to mid, but he's also got to deal with these 4 very harsh corners on mid. You can really juke and jive the heavy very easily on this map with a variety of classes. So I was not surprised for them to see SVIFT take the long fight there and just eventually win out against that heavy. But just by getting those random picks here and those little bleeding kills from SVIFT, that they have reclaimed the mid, and this time I don't see a heavy, so I think the chance is going to stand a little bit better.
Yeah, they have managed to do that. Mookie's on the black box, though, the black box and conch, so still we're not done with the gimmicks just yet, I suppose. They really want to pull it hard against this SVIFT team, and I think I like that strat a lot just because they have more maybe some traditional players on their team. I mean, Danny, especially in North America, not really used to the gimmick plays that you see oftentimes in Europe, so if that could be a helpful strategy for them. Uber's is getting kind of aggressive in Garage. He's also got a banner, so they're running double banners at the moment. I believe that is the battalion's backup. So now with 2 of those horn items on the field, they could be looking to go with that as soon as they're built up. Of course, we're not going to be able to see when they're built up, but that will probably be their strap. But SVIFT are already coming in this left side. No, they're just going to back off to the dubs.
Yeah, I guess the advantage of running the black box is you can be very detached from your medic because of that sustain that you have from the healing of your own rockets and just like the passive heal as well. You can just sit back, continue to kind of just like spam like the non-threatening damage, and because it kind of does this coincides with the his banner as well, it really kind of builds up like a mini Uber in a sense, where they've got like another thing to play off, another little like grand event or advantage they have over SVIFT.
And I don't know if the audience can hear it, but the Nintendo booth right next to us has started up, so shout out to them over the cast. But still, we're on this mid to second stalemate, and I think they're still building up the banners is what's going on. Nobody has died in a really long time, and Swift might be setting Samsy in. You know, they keep doing this thing where they poke in. They look like they're going to commit to sending a sack in or something, but they're really just not feeling it. And I mean, it's kind of the first map of the first round of the lower bracket finals. There's a lot on the line here tonight, so I kind of like this play from both the teams. They're just testing out the enemy teams, seeing what they're made of. And it's a good opportunity for Swift to get some detail onto Lowpander, see what these gimmicks they're willing to actually play with.
I mean, to give them credit where credit's due, this is the most infamous stalemate in probably all of TF2's history. It is such a difficult point. I mean, it used to be even harder than this, believe it or not, Cornpop. Before we got these little luxuries like a third door and slightly bigger doorways on the left-hand side. But I mean, it's not like both of these teams are just sat here doing nothing, waiting for something to happen. There is a strat being evolved with these two conchas, well, these two banners, I should say. And the only disadvantage of running these is it takes time. So as they're charging these up, they're going to maybe find that initial pick that they want to pick off. And usually on Granary, one pick is just not enough to kind of justify a push of, that could be this dangerous. But when you got two banners, you probably can make it work.
Yeah, and banners can be kind of hard to hide as well because you have to be up aggressive spamming. It's fairly easy for somebody to see the backpack on the back of the soldier. So Swift should more or less know what they're up against and what the strategy is out of Lowpander, especially if they've been strategizing for this, which I mean they've had all night to do so. They knew they were coming into this match against them, so assuming they weren't hitting the bottle too hard, they should be understanding what's about to come out of them. And I hear the horn being blown. That was the buff banner and the conch are actually both being blown at the same time, and they're running in through this right-hand side, trying to get some spam down, trying to get some damage on the enemy team. They haven't gotten any frags just yet, so they're doing a good job of avoiding damage, and they actually get the first frag onto Hildreth. That's really, really good for Swift. They can continue rolling this in with that Demo Man pick. Mookie looks to be going in behind, though, and you have to watch out for him because if he gets a flank play, he's right in behind Raptor and does force that Uber charge off, so it's a little bit better. Crayon is going to pop his off just now, and there's players jumping all over the place. Banny on top of Funds is going to get that last frag, but more or less, Mookie going to go down. Oh, man, Swift are in a little bit better position. They're doing a lot of damage. Crayon going to go down. That's the big one to Samsy. Ubers is hiding over in his garage. Epic jumping around. Hildreth is actually back in the fight. A nice shot from Banny, but I think he probably should have stayed home.
I mean, despite all the resistances, despite all the buffs, it proves that positioning wins the day today. I mean, that is still a very solid defense ground, and we're entering the meat grind of at a running pace over on the side of Lowpander, and they did not come out the other side of it. I'm surprised they didn't decide to just Uber in the team and just kind of get the forces out and then kind of use the banners after the in the post-Uber fights, but I guess they decided to go with the latter instead, where they just take the banners in, hoping that maybe they can just use that Uber as like a safety net somehow, but Hildreth kind of got caught off during all the fighting. It looked like some of them wanted to back out as well.
Yes, and now they've popped into the last point. There's this two-pick advantage. It's going to get one spawner. Crayon's all alone right next to Raptor. There's a lot of time on point already. Mookie's got to drop down to it. They've only gotten 2 frags, but that's all they need, it seems. They're standing on that point. They forced everybody away, and yeah, it's going to be a 1-0 for Swift pretty early.
Yeah, because they've got so much cap time on the point, it made it very difficult to kind of hold on to that point. You have to commit the bodies, and with all these explosive classes, it's difficult to just stay stood on there, let alone like not die. So they just knocked him off, capped off the rest of that. But that's just a little aspect you have to deal with if you've got an Uber advantage down against your team.
Yeah, it is going to be Mookie on heavy, running to mid. So they're trying this again. They did win that last mid kind of, well, no, they did lose it in the end, but it was pretty drawn out. We saw Samsy went to switch to Spy to check for that off class, so hopefully Swift will know that this is a heavy Uber, or heavy mid coming in from Lowpander, but it's going to be Salentes who's getting aggressive pretty early on in the enemy team's combo. Backing off though, and Crayon took a lot of spam from Ali and Bammy. He's going to go down pretty quick here now, but the counter frags are coming in anyways. There's still 3 alive on the side of Lowpander. There goes their demo. Now finally Mookie's in the fight, trying to do some spam down onto Salentes. He's pushing them all back, but he's only at half HP, and without a medic, he's just going to get whittled down. He's trying to get Raptor now with the heavy play. Raptor, 8 HP, is going to survive barely. TurboTabs.
I mean, you can see what little adjustments they made during that mid, they thought to themselves like, well, the heavy just got really juked by these corners. What if we put him on the high ground? Maybe he can't get juked so much, but you could still kind of juke him a little bit. He had a little bit of a better time, but because they got Crayon down so early, he couldn't really sustain the heavy on top of those crates with like some crossbows, for example. And they did eventually pick him out because he entered the fight too early to really be in a dangerous position to help out his team.
The Lowpander off class for the day is Mr. Epic up on Sniper, looking to make a play early as they can. There is full Uber advantage for SVIFT, so they should be wanting to take this in, but they're still kind of being slow about it. Already 50% on Crayon, so they have a little bit more time, but they can't wait too long here, TurboTabs. They've still got to buff up their demo man. Salentes is losing a 1v1 up top, and that is not going to be good for their push, but it's not over yet. They're bombing the sentry gun. It gets taken down fairly quickly, but the rest of Lowpander are all in the back right, nowhere near SVIFT's Uber, and their Uber's already run out without getting too many kills. They only got one, and that was a big bomb in by the soldier, so that took out 3 players on the side of Lowpander. Raptor trying to run back to Samzy. Now they're in a little bit difficult position. It's a demo, a scout, and a medic on SVIFT, and they're trying to get funds down. He's very low. Hilder's taking some spam as well. With Ali going down, they have to back off, and that was not a successful push. Samzy, is he going to survive? No, Mr. Epic's going to take that meat shot, so 50% advantage still from SVIFT. That's going to be a big play as they're still holding on to the second point.
Yeah, it's very demanding to make that push actually work. The fact that they lost Salentes so early and they kind of elongated the fight and the respawners were going to go against them, and they did eventually just even it out. On the bright side though, Raptor managed to just heal a scout during that and just whiz out of last point and didn't lose any sort of like disadvantage. So he has got the advantage himself now because they were kind of I mean, Crayon was taken out by a nice little Banny bomb at that last point, and they're going in now with the Uber.
Yeah, but Lowpander are already down 4 players as this Uber charge comes in. They lose Ubers again. There's no hope for this defense, TurboTabs. I mean, why do you feed so many players on seconds?
They just feel like that they have to make this push out onto the second point. I mean, you've lost that first round already, and Granary is kind of infamous for being one of those low-scoring round maps where once one team gets like an advantage over you, they can just slow down the clock and really take control of the game and not even give you a chance to get another round on the board.
You can tell all these off-class mind games people are switching around just to make the enemy team think, ooh, we have this off-class run into mid, or we don't have this off-class as they're checking on that spy class. But in the end, it is still Mookie on heavy. They're sticking with this strat. They really want it to work, and it's been all right for them. Both times I'd say the heavy almost worked, so they're not giving up on it just yet. No Man getting here about the same time, taking a fair bit of damage each, both eating some stickies as we're still just charging back and forth. Samzy's actually going to flank, and he's going to be on Mookie pretty quickly in the back lines, fighting still in yard. Banny's taking a lot of damage as well. Salentes is going to be the first one going down to Ubers. Mookie does get taken down by Banny with the skill stick in the end. He's going to actually get that frag, so that's some really good counterplay to the heavy. Just flank around and kill him before he even gets to the middle point. 5 on 5 at the moment. Ubers is going to be jumping aggressively, but bombed by Banny, and what a shot! Banny hits that air shot onto Ubers, and with that, he's going to end up... Oh my god, it's another one onto Mr. Epic. Banny, is he... No, okay, finally Funds took him down, but wow, great plays by the American soldiers. Still Hildreth and Crayon, the last player, is still alive on this point, and they are going to have to pop their Uber charge off. Not going to die, but if they can't get this force out of Raptor, this is going to be a huge Uber disadvantage. Hildreth is going for it, but he can't hit these stickies. Drops down on top, and Raptor's got the jukes. His teammates are all there to support him. Hildreth dies, and this is going to be another SVIFT mid.
Yep, and pretty much gifting them the 100% Uber advantage there. I mean, maybe they feel like they had to pop the Uber there to kind of feel safe, and maybe they thought they were going to turn the tides of that fight when Funds got that initial pick kind of at the towards the tail end of that skirmish. But I think once your heavy strat goes down and you just lose 2 players to Banny, you probably need to start getting out earlier than they did.
So now we're fighting on seconds. It is still 2-0 on the overall scoreline for SVIFT. They've been pretty aggressive, pretty dominant this whole game. Never really on the back foot, but Lowpander, they're not giving up. Ubers does get sandwiched, though, fights 2 players on the flank and goes down. All of SVIFT are coming up through this upper area. Raptor takes a lot of spam early and has to pop much sooner than he'd like to, but they have 2 soldier frags, so we'll see if it actually ends up mattering. They're in on last now. They're getting some damage down. They got Mr. Epic, but they lost a couple of their own players. Still, they're jumping around. Funds is in a lot of trouble. He got Ast and Raptor, so that was what he was doing in the back lines, but they're standing on the point. Nobody's out to block them. TurboTabs, it is 3-0. Lowpander are having a bad day.
Man, they Crayon thought they wanted to kill him so much that he just left the fight and didn't want to be part of it, but sadly they didn't have really any heals to kind of sustain that fight as well. And whilst it was a nice effort by Funz to actually take out about 2 or 3 players at that choke area, the other players that were capping earlier just came back to the fight and killed all the unbuffed players that were left roaming about on last that had no ammo left as well.
And it seems finally they're off of heavy, which is good because I don't think it was working, but they're not done with the gimmicks yet. It is a Kritzkrieg coming out on the side of Lowpander, so they're going to have that slight crits advantage as they're coming up to the middle point, and they really want to keep their players alive, the demo especially, so that they can use this crits and ideally get some frags and get the medic, but we'll see how it ends up working. They're already at 50% coming to this mid-fight. Banny jumping forward pretty aggressively onto all the combo, and Silentes is coming to follow that up again, getting aggressive onto these scouts. Ass is there as well to get some frags, and they're still running around. Mookie on the point does get taken down. There's only 3 players alive for the Kritzkrieg. It's at 95% as he hits an arrow, but Crayon's being bombed by Banny, and this is a bad opportunity. Here comes the crits, but the medic dies immediately. And with Crayon going down to Banny, this is going to be another lost mid. Can Hildreth make a hero play? He can't. Raptor takes him down. SVIFT are so strong.
This is a little saddening to say that this is Lowpander's map pick as well. I mean, 3-0, crushing it before even the 15-minute mark, and they've just wiped him out on mid. I like the crits play. It's a way to kind of come back into the game and dictate the pace of the game on your own terms, whilst if you kind of go into these Uber v Uber things, it's very difficult to kind of fight back and bring the game back. Oh, they've lost Hildreth as well. These are big pick for this last defense, and they do get a random pick from mr.epic, and they are actually turning this around. But with Raptor still alive, if you can keep maybe Banny alive, maybe you can start getting these wondrous little trades, but it's going to be very hard for just the pocket soldier.
Oh, mr.epic totally should have had a medic and a demo man pick there, but he ended up getting neither. He was eating some beef sandwiches for supper apparently, but Banny's caught out a little bit here. Hildreth's going to hit a pipe onto him. They're coming out of the second point already. It's about equal Uber charges, very slight ad for Lowpander, but it's good that they finally managed to win a fight. They've gotten off of their last points, and we're not even halfway through the map, so there's plenty of time to get through, and Funz dies to a sticky trap, but not a big deal. Plenty of time to come back here and mount a comeback against SVIFT. Now they're kind of at a stalemate, though. They're in a position where they can't really continue pushing forward. It is 100% on both medics, and pretty soon they'll have full players on each side. So with this kind of yard to middle area, it could be really hard to make a move, and SVIFT really don't have to.
Yep, they can...
oh, but Silente's going to. He's in on Crayon. Not quite. Oh, my God. Hildreth hit that pipe.
Yeah. But 3-0 on the Granary map, it feels like... Why 15 minutes is a long time in FPS land. It's still you're playing against a team that knows how to draw the clock out and really slow the pace of the game. And whilst they're not going to just park the bus, they're probably just going to take the more defensive option when it comes to making these pushes, or just all the safe options basically.
And Lowpander on the exact opposite foot. They can't really afford to do any more safe plays, and that's why Mookie's coming up on Spy. I say any more safe plays. They really haven't been playing too traditional for this match, but regardless, Mookie is here sitting on that middle point as the invisible Frenchman. He's going to be looking to get a stab onto Raptor or onto Ali or another big pick. But they're going to lose Ubers to some Banny spam, and that is a big deal. Maybe it's the distraction. Maybe it's the bait your pocket play for Mookie. He's uncloaking right behind the medic. Raptor's not turning around, but Silentes is, and he's going to kill that spy frag. Funz went down as well in the middle of that, so there's only 3 alive. This isn't looking good.
I feel like they're going through that syndrome when you lose so many rounds at the start of a TF2 game, and you feel like, oh man, we really need to make some rounds up here, so we need to start playing a bit outside of the box and just making these situations happen. But then you kind of compromise the smart plays as well, because you feel like, well, I have to go in because I need to make something happen. When really, if you just clear your head a little bit and kind of let the mistakes happen, you can still come back in that sense. But for every round on the board they get, the more they're going to justify these stupid plays with, well, I need to make something happen.
Yeah. Oh, man. 4-0 now for SVIFT. In that last push, I mean, they had 2 soldiers backcapping on second. Funz was chasing the medic, but there were like 3 SVIFT players in the last point, and nobody was around to stop them. So it's just these big plays that, I mean, Lowpander can't seem to get a hold of. They've won like 1 fight out of 10 or something in this game, and it's really hurting them, you can tell, in this match. I don't know. This could be the final round if it's a complete roll for SVIFT. We might go to a 5-0 scoreline Ali and Hildreth exchanging some spam. No gimmicks, it seems, on the side of Lowpander. Straight to vanilla, well, not vanilla, but normal off classes. Banny's coming in with a big bomb, getting some damage down, but really not focusing anybody. He's going to end up falling in the end to mr.epic, and Raptor's taking a lot of damage as well. This could be their mid. Silentes, though, doesn't want that to happen in on Crayon. Great job by him. Gets that final frag, and now it's a 3-on-3 on middle, but we see the important part is SVIFT to have heals. Raptor's extremely low. If they can just sack for it, 2 scouts, they're going to win the 1v1, but not quite enough. Samsy gets that final frag, and, well, Raptor got it onto mr.epic.
Yeah, they did a good job of actually playing off the fact that they had an extra combat class in there, taking the fights really quickly and focused firing, but they didn't really count the fact that Raptor can contribute to the fights just a little bit. And what a nice little turnaround kill from him as well. I feel like they would have actually won that mid if Raptor didn't get that crossbow.
Yeah, and Raptor doing a nice deserved taunt on the middle point after that one. So Mookie's hiding up in this drop-down area. This could be a big play, especially if he times it correctly. He's right on top of the medic. Raptor's going to go down. Banny turns around and gets the frag in the end, but that was a really well-timed play.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just seems like such a tiny little victory in what seems to be like an entire game of just mistakes and regrets. And sure that you see SVIFT like sending some players out, seeing if they can find the Crayon kill, but they're not going to be sweating at all on that side of the red team.
Well, it's leading to so many picks. They got both the scouts. They got Ali as well. There is still Banny in behind who they have to watch out for. He could go for a backup or for a flank. But meanwhile, the rest of the fighting is happening over on mid. Lowpander forced everybody out. They're focusing on Banny with that back cap, but it's not going to be fast enough with 6x on the point. He's realizing that now. He's going to back off. Ubers is back to try to fight him in that pocket-v-pocket flank battle, I suppose. The rest of Lowpander are still kind of just wandering around on the middle point. They don't want to push forward in fear of Bandy coming from behind, but at the same time, they don't want to send too many players back, or else Lowpander could just push back in, or SVIFT could push back into middle.
I don't know why they're delaying or care that Banny is behind so much. He's just a soldier at the end of the day, and he's only going to do it like a one-times cap threat, and they did have like a good 60% Uber advantage that they could have make use of, but instead they chose to kind of dilly-dally and think, oh, maybe we need to find the Banny kill. Oh, no, we don't need to find the Banny kill. So they couldn't just really just at the end decide what they were doing, and because of all that, they got the Uber on the side of SVIFT, and they're crushing them with it.
Yeah, they popped it off, but we see Lowpander lost a couple of players, their soldiers. Finally banning the back lines, doesn't manage to do a whole lot, does get pistoled down by mr.epic. They're running around at this middle point, and I think Lowpander are just looking to get out at this point. Funds might be trying to stay in, make some crazy play onto the medic. Raptor's a little low. I don't think he's in meat shot range just yet. He's going to have to land 2 shots. Lands 1, but not quite enough. Asta's going to get that frag in the end. So Lowpander once again on the back foot. We see this time and time again, and there's only 11 minutes left in this map, TurboTabs.
I know, it does say there's 11 minutes left on the map, and there's 4 rounds on the board. They still need 1 more, but might as well. In the minds of Lowpander, they look like they've just about given up. It just seems like they're not coordinating, not even trying to make some of these pushes worthwhile. They're just kind of going through the motions and waiting for the game to be finished by my looks.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, even if you can just kind of mentally prepare yourself for the next map, it's not over yet. It's a best-of-3 series, so you can't give up. Whatever that looks like for this team, maybe that means getting up and walking away from your computer 10 minutes left in the match. That's a thing. Maybe it means just playing your hardest throughout the remaining time limit. Whatever it is, they got to keep their spirits up, because SVIFT are looking to come into this last point at some point. They've got a lot of their players in Lunchbox. Silentes is taking a bit of damage, but I think he's fine for now. So still just kind of exchanging some spam back and forth. And again, I mean, SVIFT don't really need to get aggressive. They're going to get a frag on a Mookie. That's going to be a big one that could prompt some push, but Crayon's in really deep, and he gets forced without his pocket soldier. Uh-oh, this is a bad play once again from Lowpander. Crayon's disconnecting from his scout as well, so he's going back out through the wrong door. Now Banny's going to be jumping up, trying to follow up with some damage. Silentes gets a frag. There goes Ass as well onto mr.epic, and they're all over the point. Hildreth can't do it. Crayon can't do it, and it is a 5-0 end scoreline. Really disappointing for Lowpander.
Yep. I mean, you live by the gimmicks, you die by the gimmicks, it seems. They were just so stubborn with this heavy. They did it not just once, not just twice, but 3 times to this mid, and it failed in 3 different fashions. I mean, you got to keep in mind, like, their bread and butter are these sort of like out-of-the-box plays, but if they fail you this much, they hurt you on your own map pick, do you really feel like you ever want to do these sorts of tricks again?
Try something else. You know, I mean, if that heavy is not working, if your gimmicks aren't working, the Crits Creek didn't work, Finally, they came into that last mid with like a normal roster, like nothing too crazy, and they did well. Like that last round was probably their best. I mean, the first 4 were just like complete rolls. But yeah, I guess we'll see what the guys on the couch have to say. I believe it's well, yeah, a couple of guys they're ready. So yeah, take it away if they're ready.
Hello?
We have no sound.
Sorry? I love you too, Ro.
Hello? Hi, we have 0 sound, nothing.
I don't know if they can hear us. We don't know where Getaway is.
If they can hear us, then I'm
This is all
very
gone wrong.
impressed.
Yes, we're talking.
Yes, we have no sound. Just, you know, please.
We know we're live. We
attack
can't
the
hear
page.
each
Right,
other.
okay.
We don't know where
Anyway,
Getaway is.
Hi, we're here. We're going to try and do some
I'm
little,
going to take
little
one
bit of
headphone off so I can
analysis
actually hear you
of what
talking
is a
equally.
5-0 20-minute game with your boy David the Win.
Yes,
He
hello.
is a fan favorite of Twitch chat, fan favorite of, I think, basically everyone in
I can
European
hardly hear
TF2.
what you're saying.
I'm
I'm having to listen
going
to
to
like
remove
half an ear here.
a headphone, just a little bit. David,
Yes,
how's it going?
Yeah, it's going well. It's going well. It's been a great land so far.
What do you think of that game? Honestly, like it was a 5-0. Like Swift had complete control over basically everything, but I don't know. I think there's still a couple things worth mentioning here and there.
Yeah. So
Obviously, you know, first couple mids, Lowpander were running heavy to mid.
yeah. So the heavy to mid, I think, really threw them off. You could see them get to last from that point. But then once, I think it was the second round, they got Sam's in behind to distract the heavy. The heavy couldn't even get onto mid. At that point, you can't really do anything about it. The heavy's essentially useless.
Yeah.
So once they figured that out, they kind of stomped from the rest of the game.
It's kind of the same kind of thing as we've seen before, where Lowpander have that kind of weird off-class to mid, and then once it gets dealt with, they don't really know what to do. I
Yeah.
kind of question a bit the premise of heavy to mid, because obviously it's very slow. You have to concede a lot of ground in order to try and make that heavy work.
Yeah.
Like the heavy can deny from up top, yeah, and it can kind of be annoying, but the way that the Swift soldiers have been playing over the entire tournament has generally been to try and take very aggressive positioning very early on in the mids.
Yeah.
So if they can jump forward early on in the mid, take control of the height on the enemy crates.
Before the heavy even gets there to deny them that space.
Exactly, before the
Yeah.
heavy can even be active in the fight, then all the heavy can really do is stand there, take a lot of spam. Yeah, it can be like a damage sponge,
Yeah.
but when it comes to positioning, it doesn't really do anything. And you know, we saw it at least once or twice. Mookie would basically end up getting caught in garage, and
Yeah. He doesn't even make
kind
it
of-
to mid before Samsy, the scout, is already in garage denying him.
exactly.
And then Banny comes along and escape plans him. Or is it equalizer these days? I forgot. I can't
Something
remember
along
what it's
those
called
lines,
now.
yeah. Anyway, I'm desperately hoping that we can get ourselves some logs up. Have a little chat about the
There we go,
numbers.
some stats. I can
That
actually read
is-
these. I'm surprised.
That's big from Ali. You know,
Ali.
so we saw Ali performing.
17.66.
Yeah, we saw Ali performing maybe slightly worse than we would have expected in some of the games yesterday. Kind of, at least from a numbers point of view, I think he always plays well. He
Yeah.
got caught a bit more yesterday than maybe you'd expect otherwise. But ooh, we're back in business.
We can hear each other now.
Excellent.
That's great.
So yeah,
Oh wait, no, it's gone now. Oh, no, it's back.
this is definitely a map where Ali's back in the driving seat. You know, maybe a little bit of rest, a little bit of whatever, sorting themselves out.
Yeah.
In terms of on the Lowpander side, in terms like just looking at the game,
Hmm.
I think the one player I saw who was having a real positive impact was Funds. Funds
Yes,
was hitting
Funds,
some
I
meaty
noticed.
shots. He was
He's
trying to
also-
make things happen desperately, but really, like you can see just like the frags for his team. He had 14 compared
Yeah.
to what second highest is then Mr. Epic on like 9.
Yeah, he's the only person who's got more kills than deaths. Mr. Epic's come close with assists, but it's not a good ratio.
No, it's kind of like you obviously can't say it's entirely down to like, you know, oh, the rest of the team was awful, Funds was owning or whatever, but it's, you know, it's always going to be difficult when you can't really get a strong position on the mids, and then, you know, it's Granary mid is such a weird one to play because you can lose it hard and then you kind of set up on last,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's kind of
it's one
difficult
that
to work
rolls.
out exactly what you want to do. Yeah,
It rolls
it is.
back.
It is. In terms of the medics, obviously Raptor only dying twice, going 2 for 2 actually.
Yeah, the defense there. He himself had some great defenses. I think there was one mid where he, I think it was him and 2 scouts maybe against 2 other scouts.
Yes,
He got
yeah.
the one where he got the crossbow kill, and just to survive there on what was it, 5 hit points or something?
Something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
he's
like
doing well. I remember I was speaking to him yesterday, and him and Banny spent a while after the game versus 7 watching the VODs back.
Yeah.
Before they even came drinking, Banny went straight to bed, obviously, and they'd spent time going through the VODs. They'd kind of learnt everything, and you can see it showing up here.
Yeah. Well, like, I think just that fight specifically you mentioned, that little kind of, it wasn't so much like a repush, but Swift had to move with their medic and both scouts from that choke position further onto point. It kind of shows the way that Swift approach these kind of fights. They're obviously very confident with their DM, but they're rotating of heals in order to have one scout maintaining like the pressure forward and have the weaker scout kind of move back and kind of play a little bit closer to the medic. Like, they're so confident when it comes to their DM and their damage output. It's almost like in that fight in particular, they kind of didn't really go 2v2 immediately. They kind of had one scout move forward, do some damage where the scout kind of healed up, and then they brought him forward and
1v1s with heals rather than a
Kind of,
2v2 where you're trying to heal both people at once and you don't get crit heals. And
exactly.
I'm not sure crit heals come in that quickly in a fight, but
I think when it comes to like Swift's repushes and like just their kind of general DM-based kind of coordination, this is Swift's like kind of main strengths, and I think we really saw it this game. Like, they were able to pick out Lowpander players like in pushes so frequently.
Yeah.
At least a couple times. Like, Ubers and Mookie would both get caught as Swift moved on to second with Uber advantage, and like you can put it down to kind of Lowpander mistakes, definitely, but it's also the fact that Swift, if they sense that someone's out of position, like they will just immediately go for it. They will like go for that hard punish, and they will take that advantage as quickly as they possibly can.
Yeah, I think once Lowpander kind of lose the gimmick, for lack of a better term, where they don't have the heavy, the sniper's maybe not performing, the spy gets killed straight away, then the back cookie cutter versus cookie cutter, there's not really much they can do because these guys are just better players.
Yeah, well, like, when it comes to like the standard 6v6 with all regular classes, I don't think really anyone could argue that Lowpander is stronger than Swift there. Swift are clearly the more experienced, you know, they're like the real veterans and they're going to win in that situation. So you could almost argue that in order for Swift to win this next map, it's just going to have to be the same thing again. Deal with whatever the gimmick is for the map.
Yeah.
Not to put it too
if it's Gully Wash, it could
negatively.
going to be heavy to mid.
Exactly. Like, deal with whatever it is that, like, the weird thing that Lowpander's going to try and do, and then force them into playing a standard 6v6 and just beat them with experience, basically.
Yeah. And this is Gully Wash and Granary for the first two really experienced maps for these guys. These guys have played them for Granary Pro, Granary maybe, but they've played them for 7, 8, 9 years now. Gully Wash is old as well.
Exactly. Years and years and seasons upon seasons. I think the only other thing really worth mentioning is the fact that I said before, when you looked at the pick and bans, it almost seemed like Lowpander's pick would make sense for Swift, and Swift's pick kind of would make sense for Lowpander.
Yeah, you want the kind of odd maps that you can throw an off-class in there on the experienced players. So you don't play Reckoner very often. The experienced players might know Reckoner well, but do they know Reckoner well with a heavy?
Exactly.
Whereas over the 10 years, heavy on mid has come up on Granary, it's come up on Gully Wash, they know how to deal with that.
Exactly, but as we saw, like, you know, Lowpander obviously thought they were in for a good chance on Granary, and kind of as I probably would have like predicted, Swift just showed like complete dominance. Yeah. I'm kind of thinking there's going to have to be a reason why Swift picked these maps.
Yeah.
And you know, if Lowpander just can't make things happen kind of quickly, like I said, you know, Swift is just going to continue their relentless aggression and bring it back in another potentially very quick map. Anyway, I think we
have 12 players on the server.
Basically ready with our casters. We've got 12 players on the server, and we're getting ready to go on Gully Wash. So we'll pass it back to Cornpop and TurboTabs.
Yeah, we're back here. It is Gully Wash is our next map, and man, that last one was a little rough, wasn't it, TurboTabs?
Man, you could almost say if you blinked, you would have missed it.
Yeah.
It was going by that quickly. We're just blazing through it, it seems. Haney's going to be so proud. He's going to have so much schedule time.
Oh, it's going to be great.
I know. Well, it's time to bite the bullet, the Gully Wash bullet in particular, the map choice for SVIFT. And man, if you thought SVIFT were just warming up now, wait till you see this. This is the map that they've been dominating on all tournament. This is the big scary map for them. This is the one that they've been going first pick, I would say, like 9 times out of 10, and even the 10th one would be they would pick other maps just for practice.
Yeah.
So I'm scared of Gully Wash, and I'm not even playing.
Yeah, especially after that first map performance. I mean, Lowpander, what's even going through their head? I have to imagine it's fear, horror, and sadness. But
well, you don't even have to you don't even have to see it anymore. We can see it on the player cams. It looks like the player cams are enabled right after these Doman rollouts. Ooh la la.
Yeah, some fancy production stuff that the people who are smarter than me have set up, which is always nice for some TF2 action. Uber is going to be getting aggressive onto Choke really fast. Got some damage down on Ass. Salente's down to the bottom. Is going to get taken down by the Mr. Epic sniper. They have a heavy and a sniper to this mid. Bandy's taking a lot of damage. It seems to be somewhat working for them. They have lost 2 players, and Samzi's in on the sniper now. Mr. Epic is going to go down. Mookie turns around finally, and Samzi should die here as Mookie slowly turns the corner. He has to waste so much time, and throughout that time, Ali was spamming stickies down to him. Mookie's now eating a sandwich, but I think he's probably done for here. At least Crayon got out.
I mean, yeah, it just looks like I'm deja vu all over again. They're just very, very stubborn about using these off classes when I feel like they've got them figured out, but who knows, maybe they'll find a better groove of it this time. It did seem like it was going good at the start of the match, but the disadvantage with the heavy is probably as you elongate the fight on these sort of points, you can just kite him very long and just really abuse the fact that he can't really get out of a fight as well or reposition himself when players are just starting to run away. And it looks like they're gearing for a bomb here from Salentes. Oh.
Yes, Samzi's actually gotten some time on point. He's gone through water, and Salentes is going to jump onto it as well. They're getting as much point time as they possibly can, but Lowpander have done a good job of stopping that. They've gotten forward and gotten Banny as well. Ubers is getting aggressive. There goes Samzi. Everybody's just feeding at this point. They're going in, and Ubers is still on Raptor. He's not even done. Ubers is going so far aggressive, and he's managed to get that Uber force out of Raptor. Can Raptor make it back to his team, though? Yeah, it looks like he will. Ubers has given up on that chase, but I'm not sure what they were going for. It failed miserably.
I think they really were going for the point play, but it looked like Samzi wants to back out and not stay on the point when Salentes wanted to opt to jump on the point with him. And I thought maybe if they get that 3 times cap, they probably could have got away with that. But once they threw that many players away and they had that flank kind of compromise, I think Ali just thought, like, well, I might as well go for the game-winning play, and if it doesn't work out, I'll just, it'll be like the exact same scenario anyway. And a buff banner comes out.
Yeah, they're coming in through big door, and now they managed to sandwich a couple of players. Banny's taking quite a bit of damage. Uber should be able to finish that off, but can't actually do it. Buns finds Salentes, who was a little far aggressive compared to the rest of his team. Now Ubers is going more aggressively. He wants to beat them to last. That's his goal, and he's going to be right on top of Raptor. Perfectly timed, but Raptor has the good surf, and he's going to be fine now. Banny comes in and does take down Ubers in the end, but they're not done. They still want to push into last. They're going to have Uber for a little bit longer. Oh, Raptor just making into that last spawn door before he can get taken down. Raptor's going to have that Uber charge right away here. Pops it off now, so their Uber's going to be a bit better, and I think this is the danger zone for Lowpander. There we go. Ass takes down Crayon, and with only 2 players left alive still on this last point, Hildreth is one of them, as well as Mr. Epic. I think they're going to have to give it up and try another day.
I'm surprised they're taking so long over on SVIFT to actually make this push out. They will eventually get it done, but because of how long it took them, they actually got some reinforcements back. And is that a back cap attempt? Oh, Salentes does put a stop to that, but it is back cap attempt number 2. Oh, nice little air shot. He created. Oh, wow, Salentes, what a play.
Wow, he needs to stay up drinking more often, I suppose. Funds gets pissed down by Aston with only Crayon alive. This is going to be a huge momentum shift. Is Ale even going to be able to get the final frag onto Crayon? He really wants to. Mr. Epic is on Sniper, but he's not going to be able to stop Demo Man with that. Finally, Crayon barely escaping with 13 HP. He's going to be okay, but still huge Uber disadvantage.
It looks like they're gearing for the Heartbreaker round as they're going to push them all the way to the last. They're maybe going to put up a bit of a defense on their second point, but keep in mind about that Uber advantage you mentioned earlier, Cornpop. They can punish them very heavily with it. It looks like Crayon doesn't even know about it. There we go. They popped in and Crayon's in a horrible position. I don't think he'll be able to get up. Yep, there we go. Banny finds the kill, and you even get some bonus flank kills on over here. Salentes is just making a pain on the flank as well as the combo. And with only Funds alive, you do have Mr. Epic floating about, and he's going to go for the attempt to rip Raptor's life, but he's using that post, and the scouts just can't seem to shoot past it. They will clean up both of those scouts, and the medic stays alive. They could probably use the heal advantage alone to make this last push.
Yeah, they should have this one in the bag. Still 0-0 on the scoreboard, but we'll see coming to this last point. Funds is still down. Hildreth, they're going to lose him as well. Samsy's up in the air, does get taken down by Ubers. That's something. They get Banny and River as well, but Raptor's kind of jumping away, and this has been a fail, but they have some time on point. Ali's onto it. They need to stop him. He's gotten so much time, but on very little HP, he will eventually get taken down, and with Raptor going down, this could be another coast to coast to coast to coast. Salente is looking for something sneaky, but they're going to catch him out and take him down, although he trades with Ubers, which is better than he should have got.
Yep. With Crayon up, everyone is pushing out now. I'm pretty sure they feel very confident that there's no back cap in progress, so the majority should see them poking out now, but they will lose Hildreth though. They will cap it off, but for how long will they really hold on to that? They might go for another back cap attempt, but they've already found one scout. They found 2 scouts, so again, they just, as quick as they cap it, they quickly lose it, and it looks like they are gearing for a push over on with the heal advantage as well.
Yeah, we see all of SVIFT are coming in. There they get Crown. Ubers is not long for this world, jumping around with that skill stick out. They're getting some time on point. Hildreth has actually made himself quite a nest here on this last point with a lot of stickies. It's going to be hard to get up, but still there's 4 players left alive on SVIFT, and with enough time, they should be able to do it. But oh my god, the respawns are coming in, and they're actually getting quite a few frags. Hildreth from Funds. Not quite enough, though, as Samsy takes down Hildreth, and they're going to get the first round on the board for SVIFT.
Yeah, every time a respawner came out of the shutter door, they just got minced, and they just threw enough bodies onto that point that they did eventually get that first round. And while that first round was a bit of a struggle for them, it was it still goes towards SVIFT in the end, and no big surprise.
Yeah, that one was at least back and forth, which is what you'd like to see after that first map. Obviously didn't result in a round win for them, but Doman going to be rolling out once again. Mookie on Heavy and Mr. Epic on Sniper once again, so they're going to try it again, TurboTabs, and the Sniper seemed to work decently well last time. I believe he got a frag, but I don't know if this Heavy historically in this matchup hasn't worked out for them. Banny's going to be surfing pretty far into Fun. Salentes is up there as well. Banny's going to go down. Ali gets eaten by the Sniper in the end. Ubers is up, drop down as well. He's going to be coming right behind Ass, hitting some shots, but Ass has the heals, and he's going to be able to find that frag in the end. So this time it worked out for them, and Lowpander are going to take this middle point.
Yeah, it seems
like
like
Mr. Epic, oh my god, Mr. Epic gets that frag onto Raptor right at the tail end. He shouldn't have got it, but he did.
All right, okay, this round has potential now. Like, I'm a little bit surprised that Samsy went for the huge flank on that mid, because they really were missing his presence to kind of maybe add a bit more cleanup to the big bombs from Banny and Salentes. Although they were kind of shut down enough that the damage wasn't too strong, but they really were expecting Samsy to go huge, going all the way behind, maybe picking off the sniper while they weren't looking. And oh, Banny gets a couple of flank kills.
Oh, yeah, that's really big. Finally, Mookie takes him down, but the Kritzkrieg's been popped off, and they're pushing forward. They're not really getting anything with it. They lost Mookie, and now Salentes bombs in and totally stuffs them back in the river. A horrendous play. I just noticed that they even had that before they popped it off. So now they're retreating back up through river, and they're going to get back over to second. Funds is still in somewhat aggressively. He's finding Salentes, though, and decides he doesn't want to take that fight. Or does he? Still jumping around here. Funds meets Samsy now, and I think he's overstayed his welcome. Backs off, does die to Ass in the end, but it's allowed his team to sort of get into this lower lobby area, and they're going to find the frag on a Banny and Ass, losing Mookie for it, and a lot of hurt players, but Crayon going down was a really big one to Samsy. And the Forest, of course, came out of Raptor, but it's not a huge deal. As long as they don't get back capped, it's a very much a scattered player tail here. Ubers is going to get taken down by Samsy as well, so that is going to be the end of the fighting as Lowpander give up second.
I think SVIFT wasn't expecting the little skirmish in the lower area there. I think just about all of Lowpander was in that lower area, and including Hildreth, who had like a little trap going for Ali, who kind of went around the corner. Luckily, though, Raptor had an Uber to kind of fall back on and kind of get everyone healed up, invulnerable for a little bit, just to make sure they didn't die on their critical health.
Brown back onto that Medigun now, so no more Kritzkrieg shenanigans. Seems like it's pretty basic stuff from the Lowpander crew, so they're opting for that strategy at the moment, and it is even Uber. Well, that's ad for SVIFT actually, not huge, 30%. They could push off of this, and they're up against Lowpander. They probably could make it work. It was about 25% though, and they're deciding against it, so fair enough there. They don't have to really play too aggressive. They're up 1-0, and they're even leading in maps, so you know, they're not really shaking at the moment. They're feeling good about this game, and they're willing to just sit on second for a little while.
Yeah, it could be the fact that they spotted them arrow building, and usually when arrow building is involved, it kind of can skew the Uber advantages out. So maybe better safe than sorry coming out from SVIFT, as they're just kind of rotating around this big door at the moment, see if they can find a pick. Mookie has managed to weasel his way in, but Samsy is trying to put a stop to him now, but he's actually putting up a pretty good fight, and even Funz has found his way inside as well. There's more blue players in this red base at the moment than red players, Cornpop.
Yes, there are, and they're just sort of running around back there. We'll see what Swift's response actually is. A banner has been popped on the side of Lowpander. Now at 2v1, Samsy is trying to take on these flanking players. He's gonna get one, and can he get Mookie as well? That would be a big pick. Mookie's very low. Now it seems Uber has wiggled his way up here. Gonna be fighting a 1v1 against Banny. Loses that one. Didn't have enough rockets in that 3-rocket black box clip. Mookie is going to eventually die to Samsy in the back line. So those 3 flanking players all ended up dying. I don't think they got anything TurboTabs, and with that, it's going to be SVIFT pushing into this middle point, and Crown is not in a position to back off, really. He has to pop the recharge off. Raptor still holding on, finally does pop it as Funz was up behind them. So they're going to be chasing in through big door. Oh, and Crown gets jungled. That's the end of him. Gets completely annihilated by Banny and Samsy, and with only 4 players left alive, they're really struggling to get anything done in this match. Looks like Raptor's going to stay alive, and they're going to lose the second point probably.
I just want to bring it back to that little event that happened in the base, at the red base earlier. The fact that they were just running about, looking for Samsy so hard, and they spread themselves so thin, and then they end up dying out one by one. Usually you don't really see that. Usually you see it on the enemy team who's spreading so thinly to find the people that are caught behind in your own base. But it kind of did a little bit of a role reversal, and yeah, they just lost the fight from there, and it's just kind of been basic textbook TF2 at this point.
Yeah, Funz on the flank wins a 1v1 with Samsy, but then gets taken out by Banny, so ends up just being a scout trade back and forth there. So 5-on-5 at the moment as we're looking at this last point. It is big Uber revenge for SVIFT, and they're going to go off of this 5v5 situation here. So the respawning Funz could be a big deal. They're going to get Crown really early, though, and that is going to be a great help to them. They have heals now, and the other team does not. The Stickies get Det on point. He'll just gets asked with that frag, but now there are no more, and they're getting these frags. Funz goes down. Ubers is in a lot of trouble, trying to spam down on Alley. Mookie from behind is actually getting onto Raptor, and with his team with him, it's only Samsy alive. He's got to take down 2 soldiers. He gets 1. Can he get Mookie as well? I don't think so. Crown's here now, and he's arrowing his soldiers. So Samsy's going to back off, choose to fight another day, and that was a barely successful last hold.
Yeah, credit to Hildreth, though, coming out of the other side from Mortar. They did not see that coming in. He got a load of damage as well as some kills during that little last defense. So, and he also kind of baited in Ast as well, who was kind of chasing him in that water, but he had a trap set up just for him.
Yes, and now, I mean, they haven't managed to push off of that. They lost a lot of players in it, so they're still kind of up here on second, but they're poking around. They do have Uber advantage, so they should be able to, as long as they play their cards right, take this point. Ubers is going to jump in on Silentes and actually going to get that frag in the end. Samsy goes down at the same time, and nobody's had to go down. Ast again falls to Ubers, so with 3 picks right off the bat with that, SVIFT are going to have to back off to middle, and they're probably going to have to go even farther than that.
Yeah, with only 1 soldier on the field, they just need to get a sightline on Banny, and look, because of that spam rockets, they know exactly where he is, so there's no real risk of maybe getting forced by any sort of bombing soldier. They did kind of leave a sticky trap on the mid, but that's very, very predictable, and they do find it, neutralize it, and now they've got 100% Uber advantage, but it kind of took them a little bit of time in the fact that they decided to pull all their players onto the mid cap instead of just carrying on pushing and leaving a scout behind. I guess they're just playing it a little bit safer.
When Banny's gone drop down, he's going to be looking for this flank. There's really nobody up at choke for him to bomb, and they've already lost Silentes, so he's in a little bit of a sticky situation, and they don't know he's back there. He's just waddling his way forward, and he's going to be coming up right behind Crayon. 1-2 rockets on the drop. Banny gets a really well-timed frag, and they pop the banner off. Banny's going to die in the back lines, but he doesn't care. He did what he wanted to do. Now they're trying to spam Raptor, maybe get that force off, but he's taking so little damage, it doesn't even matter. Mookie's in to try to do some sort of a bomb, but Ast is going to get the frag. Funz in, does get Alley right before being taken out. Now finally Mr.Epic forces that Uber charge out of Raptor, but they're getting so many frags that they don't even care they had to pop for it. Hildreth is going to go down as well. It's only Crayon alive in the forward spawn, and he's on crits, but I'm not sure that'll stay.
Yeah, it's a real shame as well, because there are visible weaknesses to the defense of SVIFT. They're leaving their flank open quite a lot because of Banny is constantly going behind during all of this. If Mookie just kind of checked these little open flank ways a bit more, I feel like he can do just as much, if not more damage than Banny on these open flank ways.
SVIFT are looking to get their second round. They got to face Ubers with the 1v1 in Silentes. Silentes is going to win that one onto him. So now they have Uber advantage. They have player advantage, but by the time they get that Uber charge, it'll probably be neutralized. So Good play by Ubers at least to try something. Mr. Epic's up on Engineer to try to halt this push. He's building it just outside of spawn. He'll probably try to move it around once he gets it to level 3. So that's the situation we're in right now. 50% on Crayon as the Ubercharge being popped in by Raptor. The charging board on the right-hand side. Sentry Gun isn't going to be moved anytime soon. It is going to get taken down by Ali and N, but no frags from this Ubercharge yet out of the attacking players. Uber finally does jump forward and does die with it. So not ideal. Mookie goes down as well. No soldiers on the defending team side. They have 87% Ubercharge, so they're looking to hold this point, but there's a lot of cap time being put on from Water. They're gotten onto it now. Mr. Epic's going to end up going down. They finally get that Ubercharge just in time, and if they can get Silentes or something here, they got Samzy, which is nice, but I don't think SVIFT want to give this up just yet. They're not done with it despite the Uber. They're getting a lot of point time now. We see everybody's collapsed onto it from both teams, but there's just more SVIFT players alive, and because of that, they're going to get it 2-0 in this first round so far.
Yeah, you can see the fact that they had Hildreth in the base with them. Everyone was bunched up, taking up the same space, and it was very easy for Ali to kind of cut off not only one door, but kind of do a good, healthy amount of spam and really bring down the numbers over in that last point. I think Hildreth he's really been effective when he stays in the water on these disadvantages, and he really needs to prioritize his positioning when he sets these defenses up.
So it's a heavy Kritzkrieg mid coming in from Lowpander, and again, they had a spy up to check for those, so hopefully they will know. They won't be caught too off guard by it. They'll be able to play around it. Manny's going to get aggressive. You can see most of them aren't playing too forward on Lowpander. Ubers is going to be coming up drop down. That worked well for him last time. He's going to find Ast and getting a little bit of damage down. Mr. Epic follows up with a body shot, so that is going to be the first frag going in favor of Lowpander, and they're still all bunched up with Big Door. Finally, Ubers does die to Samzy on the ground. So that's going to be one down on each team. No soldier. There goes Samzy to funds as well. So no scouts on the side of SVIFT. And Banny's coming in through this banana area. Does pick up funds and somehow not dying either. The crits was popped off and they're going to get 2 quick frags. Raptor and Ali both going to go down. Mookie's taking spam, just eating that sandwich. He doesn't even care though. He's going to be nice and healthy as they're coming to this middle point. That was probably the first successful gimmick mid, unless Silentes can say something about it. He's on to Hildreth and Banny's in as well, but the Heavies just does such a great job of denying these bombing soldiers. Can't save the demo man, but they're going to get both those frags and keep Cran alive.
I mean, seeing it in practice, it is very unique and interesting, but I feel like they're just missing out ever so slightly on SVIFT. They get caught out by just like a random little pick or a random pipe or damage here and there, and they really do need every single body to make this this push out against this mid strategy of Lowpander.
Yeah, now they still have their off classes and their Kritzkrieg as they're holding on to the second point. They have crits advantage. It's about 40%, but they really need to be going with it quickly if they want to get these frags before Raptor gets his Uber charge. Samzy's up on Sniper, and Mookie's going to jump aggressively onto Banny with that heavy class. 85% now from Raptor. They pop off the Kritzkrieg, and they're going to get 2 players immediately with that first crit sticky. This is a great opportunity for Lowpander. They're pushing aggressively. They're getting so many frags. That's going to be the round. Finally, they get one on the board, TurboTabs.
Yeah, they just didn't see that crits coming. I mean, I'm a little surprised. Usually they're very diligent about checking the Kritzkriegs on these spy checking and whatnot at the back in base when they've just started the round off. So very surprised they didn't see it coming at all.
Yeah, and they knew because he popped it off on mid already. So
right.
And he didn't die, so they'd seen the crits. Not sure what the positioning was, I guess, from SVIFT.
Yeah, just a sloppy little play. Maybe they just didn't expect it to be built so quickly.
I suppose so. Well, the Kritzkrieg worked well for them once. They're hoping it'll work again because Lowpander are back on that medigun. Mr. Epic going Sniper, Mookie staying on Heavy for this mid-fight. So that's the strat. The Heavy worked fairly well last time for them. It seems to be working better than on Granary. So that's something. Mr. Epic going to be trying his hand to get some shots off. Uber is once again coming up through drop downs. This is exactly the same as last time. This time he finds Raptor, but Raptor's doing some sick dodging. Not quite enough, though. Dodges right into the scope of Mr. Epic. Uber's and Nas both going to end up going down as well. So this is a good... basically the same mid as we saw last time, a couple of differences there. Mr. Epic hits a nice shot on Silentes, Funds and Hildreth both going down though, and Vanny in the back lines gets Crayon. Now Samzy gets sniped down, but it's only the off classes left alive in a 2v2. Mookie goes down to Banny, who is spamming. It's only Mr. Epic. Can he kill 2 frags? Ali and Banny, no, not gonna happen. Banny with 3k saving that mid.
The power of explosives, the fact that you don't really need to keep yourself out there and you can shoot around these corners, and they were really making use of that. It's thankful the Banny huge flank went unnoticed because they've kind of relied on that a couple of times now to make this these mids go their way.
Crown's still staying on that Kritzkrieg. It's about a 60 disadvantage Kritzkrieg, so that's their play today, I guess, as they're going to be trying to do something with that. I mean, they can't realistically hold on to the second point for too much longer. 80% already on Raptor, and he's going to want to bring his team into the middle point. They're all positioned around Big Door, so this is the way they're looking to come in with this, and they should just force Lowpander out. They don't want to have to pop the Uber charge off, but they will if necessary. They're pushing everybody back. Nobody's getting aggressive. Ubers is coming down, and he's going to get 2 quick frags. Banny and Samsy dying to that spawn, and Mookie gets air shot up in the air. Bombing in, does get the force out of Raptor. That's what he wanted. Silentes is going to get bombed in, so they're not even going to cap this middle point, or second points even, and with that, Raptor's a little bit caught out. He's going to connect back with Ali and Big Door, but great play by Lowpander to actually not lose that second point.
That was just a tremendous amount of greed coming out from SVIFT. You know they wanted to use that Uber for the last push instead of the second push there, and they were just so stubborn to be not only drop 1 player, not just 2 players, but 3 players during all of that.
So Samsy up on Sniper. He's about half HP right now. And the Kritzkrieg is coming out. They finally built it up, but it's on a Soldier. Ubers, and he gets headshot in the end by Samsy as well. So that is not ideal for that crits play. Not going quite as well as the last rounds. And with that pick and now Uber disadvantage, they're in a really bad situation. Funz is taking a lot of damage in Big Door as well. He's going to have to back up and eat an arrow from his medic. Pretty nice shot there, actually. But this is going to be Raptor and Banny flanking around onto Cran. He's not in a good position, but Mookie and Funz are going to die for this. Hildreth is a little bit caught in on second. He shouldn't live. He does go down to Banny as well. So Ubers and Crown managed to make it alive, but their team not so lucky, and they're giving up this middle point.
Yep, they're just going to stack this cap off right now. They need to maybe worry about Mookie, who's hiding in the forward respawn. But and yeah, he wants to dedicate to this, but it looks like they know. And they already set up. Yeah, he's even attempted to open the door there. I think they did catch a glimpse of that. Yeah, so there's the Mookie factor is not really going to come into fruition there. They have been pushed all the way back to their last.
And an aggressive Kritzkrieg has been popped off, but they're not getting any frags with the TurboTabs. They got literally nothing, and with the Uber charge being popped out of Raptor, I mean, that's something. They got the Uber force. Now they're going to have the crits advantage, I suppose, and they might be able to work off that, but this is a risky play.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the fact that they've been critsing Ubers both of these times. Yeah. I mean, crits soldiers are very rare by the fact that they just don't quite do enough damage compared to a Demoman. So most 9 times out of 10, that's why you'll see the Demoman being favored during these crits, because it has one of those stickies that can really like do a one-shot basically, whilst you can't really one-shot anybody with a buff essentially on SVIFT.
Yes, and Swift have done a really great job of building this Uber charge. They get it before the Kritzkrieg is even able to be popped off, and they're going to kill Crayon immediately. They're coming in. They get mr.epic as well. Mookie's been all the way in the back lines this whole time. He's finally having an impact. He gets Samsy, but the rest of his team's just getting slaughtered on last. They're finally getting a couple of frags here, but it's not going to matter at all. A full wipe, and Swift are going to take this 3-1 with 8 minutes remaining.
No, man, it looked like they were doing well. Yeah. I think they are trusting the gimmicks a bit more now that their mid-strats are going well, but then they're pulling out the Kritzkrieg, which is, again, I think very, very situational in current meta of TF2. But maybe they need to kind of realize that it's not working and maybe put it on the back burner for now.
And Swift has just been doing such a good job countering these gimmicks that keep coming out. They're going to try it again, Lowpander with the Kritzkrieg. No off classes this time, so that is the only strat they're pulling out for this mid-fight. It's interesting, at least they're changing it up every time. You know, don't keep trying something. Don't keep banging your head against the wall. Mookie looks to be going up, drop down this time. He finds Ast. He seems to always find Ast, and Ubers gets the frag on a Banny, but otherwise it is a trade. Funz and Silentes both going to go down, so no Soldier on the side of SVIFT, but there we go. Silentes is going to go down. mr.epic just died there. Hildreth being aggressed on by Alien. It is Ubers and Crown backing off to their second points, and because Crown wasn't healing that whole time, it's going to be about even Uber charges with that Kritzkrieg onto, well, Ubers if they want to go with his crits.
It looks like when they ran the cookie cutter lineup on the side of Lowpander that mid, they...
yes, and they've gone for the crits though! TurboTabs, they're not hitting anything! Oh no, they hit Ali, but Ali's surviving anyways. Mookie on the flank is just... Is he going to die? He's going to survive, back off, but not getting any frags.
Again, those soldier crits aren't scary.
No.
I mean, did they have Hildreth buff? I'm sure they had him up, but...
he was respawning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can see in that scenario why they would go for the Uber's crits. You've got a finite amount of time to make use of the crits where they don't have an instant block of the Uber charge to deal with it. But it takes a very talented soldier in a very specific scenario. I think that soldier needs to be bombing in. I don't think any long range crits can really happen with the soldier.
Yeah, it's tough. Now Uber's tried to get aggressive, jump in, took some damage himself and is deciding to back off because Funds is going to go down to a nice pipe from Ali in the end, and that is not ideal. Samsy jumping around in a 1v1 with Mookie. Mookie, a nice rocket, actually going to end up winning that one to make it a 5v5. Alive on the fields, and second point going to be capping off for SVIFT. Looking to push into last. Again, it's Medigun versus Kritzkrieg, so SVIFT can kind of just push in. The question is, what's the crits play from Lowpander? They could go aggressive with this. They have Mr. Epic on Sniper with that Machina, so that's not really going to help out in this fight. The Uber charge has popped off pretty aggressively. It looks like they're hoping for this maybe after Uber crits. Hildreth goes down, and now the crits popped off, but there's so much time on a point, nobody's able to block it, and 4-1 for SVIFT.
I think my brain has just launched into orbit. I don't know what Hildreth was ever doing in that position.
Yeah.
He just kind of launched himself into the Uber. Why? Okay.
This might be the end for Lowpander. It's 4-1, 6 minutes remaining. That's probably possible, like, theoretically, 3 rounds in 6 minutes. Yeah, that's possible, but it's going to be really, really tough for them. And, I mean, they have to do it because this is it. If they lose this map, then they will get knocked out and get 3rd place at Insomnia61. Here they come to this next mid-fight. It's crucial that they win this one. Hildreth spamming into big door. Trying to get some damage down. Quick bomb on Banny and Salentes. They're both going to get crowned down extremely early. Uber's up in the air as well, trying to do something sneaky, but Mookie's going to be going underneath, and he's taking a lot of damage early. There we go. Ubers does get the frag out of the medic, and now this is a bit better play from Lowpander. They've kind of cornered SVIFT, and they're getting a good couple of frags, but here comes Salentes, and he's trying to support Ali Banny again as well. Going to get Mr. Epic, and everybody died on the side of Lowpander. Yeah, that's probably the end.
Yep, it seems they... I mean, there are still some minutes on there. I mean,
Yeah.
if they pray, basically, if they go to their bite shrines and pray to the TCM gods that they can channel this for, 4 straight rounds, maybe. But it's very unlikely for a team like SVIFT. They, I mean, surely by round 3 that they lose on the back in like 3 minutes, they probably would just not go to mid.
Yeah, Mookie's up on Spy. That's their desperation play, I guess. They just need to try something. Or maybe they're just having fun. Raptor heals him, he runs back, drops through drop down. Surely they know. I think they're checking around now. Mookie's going to come up a second time, and this time he gets Raptor. He actually gets it. Banny's going to go down, trade for Ubers in this fight, and now they're trying to push aggressively through choke. Ali's getting extremely weak. He does get taken down. Salentes bombing forward, now has to fight Funds as he's taking this 1v1. Ass is a little caught out, stuck between Funds and a demo man, but Samsy's in to help him out. Now Samsy's getting, piped down by Hildreth with 2 quick pipes onto 2 quick scouts. They're going to get this middle point for it, but it might be too little too late.
All right, that's it. Get your clown shoes on, Cornpop. Get your clown trousers on, get in the clown car, we're going to Clown Town. This is just absolutely bonkers at this point. They're just jumping in, being chaotic, keep on fighting, keep on, pumping up the logs and just, I guess, enjoying the last seconds of LAN.
Yeah, well, they've popped the Uber charge off. Oh, a nice surf by Salentes to just get Crayon in at the end. Really good strafing by him, and Samsy's going to get taken down by Ubers. 3 players left alive on both teams. They're just running at each other. Ass is going to clobber Ubers, and Mr. Epic is trying to stay alive against 3 players, all being healed up. He's doing it. He's jumping around. He's using the boxes. Funds is coming to join him. Finally, Mr. Epic goes down. Funds joining on the jumping around game. This time he falls down, but Banny's going to clean up with those shenanigans. And yeah, Lowpander are kind of just having fun at this point. Going to be backing off to second, and we might see a 5-1 game after this.
Yep. I mean, even if they cap the next round, the Mercy Rule will still not be invoked as well. So it's a very long and painful dead time.
Yeah, it could still go to Mercy if it goes 6-1. Mookie's actually aggressively going to pop the Uber out of Raptor really, really early, but he loses his life for it now, and they're still jumping around. 85%, so Crown could get this in the fight. 90 now looks like this push hasn't been super successful and it's dragging out. So here's the Uber charge, but he's losing 2 of his players before he can actually pop it off. Only got scouts with him to defend, and they're actually going to do a good job. Banny in behind tried to hide, but thankfully Funds takes him down. And now with a couple players, Ass is going to be running on this point, but Funds is there to 1v1 him, loses that one. Crayon, can he get the scout frag? Mr. Epic's there to make sure he doesn't have to, loses his life to it. Can Ass actually do this? No, there's no way. Mookie's here now, and he's taking too much.
No, he's going back in on 2 HP.
Please die,
It was just
finally.
a distraction for the soldier that bombing in, and Solentes is probably going to go down and sneaky as well. Thank God for respawners, otherwise that round would have been capped there. And 2 minutes left on this match.
The Banny Spy has come out at I-61 in the lower bracket finals. Kind of doesn't matter, but still it'll be interesting to see what he does. I believe this is his least favorite class, so there's even Mr. Epic checking spawns, and he's going to immediately come down and find out for Banny. So not today. He's going to say, I know your games, and catches out the soldier player.
Yeah, he tried to shank the scout and maybe like block him from actually blocking the point himself, but didn't quite work out. Managed to just skip and jump onto that point, and Mr. Epic will get a nice little solo and actually a nice little bonus kill from Solentes as well, cleaning up the combo from SVIFT there as they are capping out that second point. 1 minute and 23 seconds.
You know, when nobody's trying and they're just kind of throwing the game around, Lowpander actually do a pretty good job running around. This is maybe the most dominant they've been all match, honestly, with 1 minute remaining. I don't think it would be like this if the scoreline was closer and SVIFT weren't doing some feed plays, but regardless, it's good to see some close TF2 and a fun way to end their LAN experience.
I mean, 4-2 would look a lot better than 4-1 on the logs.
It would, yes. Yeah, you can almost make the case that a 4-2 is a close game, but Solentes eats a fat shot, and with Mookie getting aggressive in upper water, Banny is trying to get some damage down on him. Here comes the flank play, actually. They're going to pop the Uber charge off, running in through River. Raptor's taking a bit of damage here, but not quite enough. He's going to get back in a spawn. Ali goes down. Mookie kills himself in that. Banny sniped by Funds, and they're looking to get on this last point. Hildreth is behind the point, but Samsy's here to make him stop. He's backing off. There's only 3 alive on the side of Lowpander. So 20 seconds remaining. It looks like this will be a 4-1 scoreline.
Oh no. The history books will look just a little bit more painful.
Yeah.
How will they cope?
Well, the Banner's their last hope, I guess. They got Solentes. 10 seconds left on that clock. Uber's jumping around in the back lines. There's nobody near the point is the issue, and Raptors popped his Uber charge off. So unless Crayon can run all the way back, no, Ass shoots him down. And 4-1 is the final score of the lower bracket finals. Map 2, we are going to see a 7 SVIFT grand final. Who would have thought that?
I don't know why I got excited for this.
Yeah.
I mean, I just felt like I was in for a treat here. Like Lowpander against I guess, a somewhat weakened SVIFT from just all the shenanigans from last night. But no, they just seem, if anything, alcohol seems to fuel the fire of SVIFT.
Yeah, I guess so. Solentes seemed to play pretty well. So I think we're going to hand it over to the guys on the couch, and they're going to take it over from here. So yeah, next up is going to be the grand finals. Stick tuned for analysis and then that.
Hello, I am your new Ghetto Whale. I am Eeply. We're back here with David the Win. And
Hello.
we're just going to run down a few little points of analysis, have a look at the logs and stuff before News continues with his epic Weatherman segment.
We have the TV coming up.
We do. It'll be just a few short minutes away. Just finishing up on that.
The World is a much better name than News on the Weather or whatever it was called last night.
I think it's a work in progress.
Okay,
the name,
yeah.
you know.
We'll get it next time. We'll get
Exactly.
it next time.
Next line will be perfect. So a little bit more interesting map. Wasn't quite a 5-0 roll.
Yeah,
we saw
they definitely held up better this time, I think.
Exactly. Like we saw on mids, you know. Obviously, Lowpander have been really enjoying their sniper to mid kind of plays, but this whole heavy and sniper kind of worked a little bit better.
I called it. I called
You
the heavy
said
mid.
immediately, first thing you were like, heavy to mid, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I said heavy and sniper, it kind of works to a degree. You can protect the sniper a little bit better.
Yeah, Mr. Epic did hit some shots. He had an impact, but whether it had more of an impact on Scout, we don't know.
This is the thing, you know. You kind of put yourself at the mercy of the enemy team because you trade the
ability.
Your real ability to win the mid comes from getting the kills, not being able to take position because you're inevitably in a poor position.
Yeah,
because
they
kind
sat
of
on this low ground with the heavy and the sniper, and you see the Banny and Solentes bomb every single mid. They would bomb down there, double bomb. It's a classic strat, but when you set the heavy there, you just wait for them to bomb into you and attach them down. They can't do anything about it.
Exactly. That's why it doesn't matter the range with the Natasha. It
Yeah.
will slow you down, and there's more or less nothing you can do about it. It will
Yeah.
just crush any bombs you throw at it.
You did see Banny, I think, adapting and going more through with Banana instead.
Yeah.
Or trying to get away from jumping the heavy directly, obviously.
Yeah. So
Try something different.
I think we've got the logs of the game ready.
Yep.
Just throw it up on screen now. Let's have a little look.
Ooh, Banny with the big damage.
Ooh,
Almost a
big Banny
400.
damage. Another
Uber's
really
doing
good
well,
game
to
for
be
him.
fair. How many crits did he get? He got a
I'm
couple.
not entirely certain, but it was
That's a big damage game. Goalie Watch
very-
tends to be.
very nearly permacrits on the side of Lowpander after about
Ast,
10 minutes in.
we pointed out Ast in the analysis between the game, and him and Samsey, I think, have to be some of my MVPs for this LAN. They played so well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like
For such a new scout pairing, they've just bonded, and it's perfect. It's beautiful to see.
yeah, it's so interesting to see the way that they approach like team fights and
Yeah.
repushes and that kind of thing. Like it's so obvious how experienced they are and,
Yeah.
and how skilled they are. They know how to read the situation, and they will almost always play accordingly.
Yeah, they've
We,
got 60 frags between them,
Yeah.
29 assists, both dying 17 times, so they're obviously completely in sync, suiciding when the other one dies.
They just
Kill binds in sync.
Exactly. They're just like, right, scout partner's down, right, I'm gone, boys, I'm gone.
That's where we're going.
So yeah, that's it. We mentioned Ast last night a bit as well. Like, I kind of, he's quite, doesn't always do the flashiest plays,
Yeah.
but he's just so consistent with
Consistency
his
is so
damage
much-
output and
so
his
key.
cleanup. I think we've probably said about 100 times so far this tournament that Ast cleanup is just spectacular.
Yeah, they're so good.
He's
As a
so
pair.
good at reacting to the calls and working with his team. On the Lowpander side of things, like I said, Ubers is hitting big damage.
Yeah.
Kind of
Mookie and Mr. Epic getting some kills in there.
kind
Guns maybe dying more than I'd like. Continue. He had a strong game before, but I think in this case there's not really much you can do against a team as strong as Swift.
No, well, it obviously makes sense. The Lowpander scouts are always going to look a little bit worse statistically speaking.
Yeah.
In a game where you're running basically permacrits.
Yeah,
I think
and
it's,
the heavy sniper mids.
Exactly.
You
I think
have
it's
less time to get the scout frags.
I think it's something worth mentioning. Lowpander's kind of fondness for crits, especially on this
Yeah.
map, because as much as they lost this map,
Hmm.
and as much as Swift had a lot of control, it has to be said that Lowpander is really good at working with crits.
Yeah,
the
they've
way
had
that
the best crits increase of the LAN, I think.
definitely, like we haven't really seen many teams try it, which obviously helps them maintain that position.
Mm.
But the way that they work with the crits to try and create their advantages, the way they create distractions, the way they, kind of, like they know the best ways of being able to use the crits to force an Uber to attempt a repush. Like that
Yeah.
part almost always goes well. Like they'll frequently pick up a kill or so, but then it's the repush where they really struggle to go against Swift.
Yeah, it's just too strong. But I think when we look at Swift, they're such a strong team that Lowpander needs something to distinguish themselves. They can't beat them on raw skill. They have to try something else. Hence
Yeah.
the heavy mids, the sniper, the crits Kriegs, all the spy plays from Mookie. They've got to have something, and that's what makes them unique to watch as a team. Even if they might not win, they're still entertaining to watch because they try things.
Exactly. They do try
Yeah.
things.
It's not
and-
gimmicks just because you think it's stale.
Exactly. They're a big fan of just more or less throwing whatever they can at the enemy team and just
Yeah.
seeing what sticks.
See
You know?
what sticks. I'll try
Yeah.
it. Speaking of, Hildreth I have to give a big shout out to because he's taken this Lowpander team. He's been involved with Lowpander in whatever iteration it's been for 2, 3, 4 years now. And it's always been kind of Div 2, Div 1. And now he's getting third at LAN.
Yeah.
And he's really pushed the team and they've improved. They've come to LAN and they've proved themselves, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, they've beaten teams like Antic and Ascent
Yeah.
to get this third place position. And as much as it's kind of sad coming here on a Sunday morning and losing in two
Yeah,
reasonably
waking
quick
up.
maps.
Super early. I think Crayon said Hildreth wasn't answering his phone, showing how late they're getting in.
But it's a very respectable place
Yeah.
to end up, especially considering the opposition is Swift and Seven, two
Yeah.
just incredibly strong teams. And
Yeah.
like we were having a bit of a discussion about during the game, there is this. It seems like there's this
A
gulf
yeah.
between the top two and more or less anyone else.
Yeah,
they're just
we've seen this for years on years. It's always been, say, the Reason Gaming and Full Tilt, and then a bit of a gap between the third, fourth, fifth team, and then usually in Prem there's like 6th, 7th, 8th. They're always kind of there's
Yeah.
usually kind of 3 tiers of new to Prem, have a couple of seasons, and then the top 2 or 3 teams.
yeah.
I think the closest we got was I-55 maybe, where we had Nerd Rage, Reason, TLR, Froyo, Ascent, all top 5 teams who could take maps of each other.
Yeah.
And that was a great LAN in terms of closeness. TLR, especially on the first day, we didn't expect that.
No. But yeah, obviously this is the end for Lowpander. This is their LAN
is where
over. They can relax, have a couple drinks, whatever,
Yeah.
get ready for the
Couple of drinks.
grand
It's only
finals.
25 past 12. I think we'll give them a bit of time. Settle in.
Considering what we saw yesterday, I don't think that's going to stop anyone,
Oh yeah,
to be
that's
honest.
a good point.
But yeah, obviously we have the grand final starting, I believe, 3 p.m.
3 p.m. So that's 2.5 hours from now.
Yeah.
If you are in a time zone that isn't the UK.
So that is it confirmed.
Yeah.
7 versus Swift in a best of 5. To my knowledge, there's no map advantage or anything like that. It's a straight best of 5. If anyone is there to confirm that, I would love that.
I don't think anyone has anything else to add to that.
They reckon that is very much the case. So
Yeah. We are hoping to have news back soon.
yes, I think News is just
He's-
finishing up his little
He's
bit of
clipping some things.
little bit
I
of
don't know if
preparation.
we're sticking around until he's ready. I don't know how close he is to being ready, or whether we're handing it back over first.
I'm willing to bet he's pretty close. Otherwise, we'd be receiving some big
Yeah.
signals. To
He's here all through the game, making notes.
exactly.
Squashed up on the couch as he's casting for himself.
You know, hopefully people will understand and people will appreciate the work
Yeah.
that goes in. News was sitting there, literally sitting on that part of the sofa for those entire
Right here.
games,
This
very
was
quietly
News.
scribbling away to himself,
Yeah.
writing
Yeah.
out
Full
a good
full
few-
notepad.
Exactly, a good few pages of notes working this out and this out. You know, trying to make sure not only is the clip good and interesting to
Yeah.
analyze, but it has to show up well on stream and
To show- Well, he has to be able to talk about it clearly. He's got to have the right kind of things that look good on the TV, basically.
exactly. I said just while we're waiting for him to get ready, I said we now know our grand final. It's Swift versus 7. What are your
Swift versus
thoughts?
7. Ooh. I think 7 as a team are probably the more experienced team. It's essentially Reason, and Reason has essentially been around since I-55 in some iteration at this
Yeah.
point. They're so experienced, and Swift, they've been practicing for a while. They are not quite a pug team, but essentially compared to 7, I think they are.
Yeah.
But we've seen such a strong showing. Samzy and Ast have been so good. Then again, Stark and Thalash are so good. They've been a scout pair for so long. I wouldn't want to call it. I'm not. I think I'm kind of a Swift fan because I think in this case they are technically the underdogs,
Yeah.
and I'm
Kind
a
of.
big underdog fan. Big Full Tilt supporter, obviously. I wouldn't want to call it.
No, I think, like I said, it is. I think it is going to be a really, really close grand final. I think if maybe there was a different result, I would be, because I'm like pretty friendly with 7 anyway. If it was a different result in this game, I'd be really, really confident in 7.
Yeah.
But like with Swift having this strong of an opening,
Yeah.
like just regardless of like the team play, the fact that they've been so good this morning, picking off anyone who overextends
Yeah.
whatsoever. Like
Especially
just their
given the mental conditions they've been playing under.
exactly.
Yeah.
Just, you know, like their coordination, their focus fire, like these really fundamental things,
Yeah.
which if you just get perfected and completely locked down, allow you to just make things happen,
Yeah.
seemingly out of nowhere.
These kind of fundamental techniques that are designed to work against a cookie cutter lineup, whereas when you're against a heavy or a sniper, you've got to change things up a bit. And they've had to take their fundamentals and adapt them on the fly. They're used to doing this, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's very different when you're not expecting it from a top 3 team on LAN. So,
Yeah. I think it's also, in terms of fundamentals, that's kind of, to me, that's kind of what Swift is. It's a team which, like I said, they haven't played together loads, but they have incredibly strong fundamentals. We saw one last push in which, within about the first 5 seconds of the last push, Swift knew instantly they were not going to be able to convert the round before Lowpander got Uber. And we're talking about, like they knew when Lowpander were about 10% off.
yeah.
So Swift's like ability to count the Ubers was just so perfectly on point there, and their read of the situation was so perfect. They were able to just be like, right, well, it's not going to happen in time. That's fine. We'll
What
just
else
get
can
the
we get
picks while the Lowpander medic stays in spawn. We'll get the picks around him. We'll wait until eventually he comes out with the Uber to try and block the point, and then sacrifice maybe 1, 2 maximum, and then take the repush the second that the Uber fades, and just completely crush them. And like I said, it's those kind of fundamentals, I think, which is what allows Swift to be so strong. They're not necessarily absolutely crazy in terms of super awesome team play and 6 strats, but their fundamentals are just so strong that they're able to convert rounds. Anyway, I think our boy News is now ready with his
Boy over here.
lovely little segment.
Things firstly on the first map. So let's have a look at Granary here. The first thing that stood out to me, there's this one. Hildreth had a very questionable recommit at the tail end of the fight, and the reason it worked out so poorly for them, if I can just take a look. Let me see if I can grab a full map here. Yeah, so with the way it was playing out, Lowpander just lost a fight on mid, and they had lost 4 or 5 players, but they had 2 people respawning quite quickly because Crayon died early in the fight. Hildreth was in a position as one of the late spawners to come back into the mid, but he also had the option of leaving and coming back to his team on second. Now he decides to recommit late to go for the pick onto Raptor, but it doesn't work out because he's fighting 1v5, and it's such a critical mistake because if he were to go back and meet his team, he would have been able to shut down the area on second and just slow down Swift by just enough to really delay the push. I'll show you how it looks when it plays out. So you can see everyone on Swift focus firing quite well on second. Crayon dies quite early. They still need to cap, so they're just dealing with any stragglers left on second or left on mid now, and Hildreth recommits here. There's nothing that he can do against 5 players of Swift, and he just dies for it. So what ends up happening is they cap, they block some of the spawners, and they start pushing. And what Lowpander are forced to do is they leave Funds in a position to hide, as you can see. I don't know if you can see it with the outline there, but he was hiding just underneath the exit from Ramp Room. And now it's just the combo players of Crayon and Mookie left on second. And they actually get separated, so what ends up happening is that Swift are able to just take control of the point. They don't even need to worry about any stickies or anything in this area. They're just able to run straight through, and because they killed Crayon early in the fight, they're able to use their Uber advantage without any contest. So they've just run over second, and they're getting ready to push last. And Funds was behind, he gets caught off because they knew he was there, and then as we can see, they're just going to run through and run over the last defense. The next thing I wanted to talk about was, I'll just let this clip play out for you, because it's just nice to see a really well done push. Next clip was Banny playing a really good mid. So what just happened in this scenario, Swift had just failed the last push, but they managed to get Crayon at the tail end of the fight. And Lowpander are trying to be quite aggressive because they want to recap. But because they killed Crayon, Swifts do still have an Uber advantage. They're only on 59% just now. But what they need to do with this is they need to delay this cap as long as they can so that they can push last with this. Lowpander are putting good time on the point, but Aston, Banny, and Raptor play this really well. Banny's abusing this position on the high ground incredibly, and he goes weak, but Raptor's right with him, and he keeps him arrowed. And they manage to deny the point. You can see how much it's capped, but they manage to hold it off just as Raptor gets Uber. They get the 3 picks of the players extended on the point in that choke area, and now they're just ready to push into last with only 3 players. There will be some spawners for Lowpander, but it isn't enough, and that's all off the back of Banny and Raptor playing really well together to deny that second. If they didn't do that, I think Lowpander would have been able to cap it there. And then the nail in the coffin for Granary. With 10 minutes left, Lowpander were 4-0 down. It's still possible for them to come back into it, but they were in this position on second where, as you can see, Swift are getting set up to go for a play here. Ali setting up a sticky trap, and they get Silentas to peek up top. They're just trying to bait someone to chase so that they can get an opening pick. Now, what ends up happening is they do get that pick just as Lowpander try and do a wraparound play. You won't be able to see it just until Mookie dies, but I'll point it out for you. So Mookie does peek, dies to the sticky trap, and you can see Ubers and Crayon are coming in behind with an Uber, but there's a really important rocket that Banny hits again, and it's just excellent play from him. And you can see here, just as they're about to go through the shutter and take an Uber in to catch off all the Swift players, it would be quite a favorable trade. A solo Uber versus 4 players. There's 3 in the lunchbox area and then Ask behind here, so they could get a lot of flashing and get a much longer Uber. But Banny hits a really nice rocket. You'll see it coming across here, and it just juggles Crayon just before he gets to the shutter. So what ends up happening is he pops, he can't meet Ubers dies, and then they've just lost 2 players and Ubered for nothing. And now Swift are Ubering on their own terms, and they get a much better end of the trade. And it does end up in a round win. So that was the nail in the coffin. Lowpander had to do something to try and break the hold, but it wasn't going to be enough. Let's try and bring it to Gully. There was a really nice things I could analyze with this one. So I wanted to talk about player advantage pushes, because it's really not used well enough by a lot of teams in the current meta. This is an example of Swift trying to use a player advantage to push last. And interestingly, they have Uber advantage as well in this scenario, but they don't pay too much attention to the spawners. They had only just capped, so they have 1 player on second, and they're pushing in 5v5, or 5v4 is what they're thinking they're pushing, but it's essentially 4v4 because they're leaving someone to cap who's not in the fight yet. They're getting quite aggressive, but they're not really isolating any targets. I think they do get the opening pick. Yeah, they get the pick onto Hildreth, which is a really good start of the last push, but they can't really play together. I was pointing out yesterday with 7 playing really passively in their team fights, but just picking off the aggressive targets. The Swift guys were overextending a bit too much here, and it was a good chance to use that player advantage. They even had the Uber advantage, but they end up losing it because Raptor dies from them overextending. But what happens in their next push, in a very similar scenario, they get 3 picks on second. This is a much better time to do it, because you'd think having Uber disadvantage, it's riskier, but they actually, because they get really late kills on second, they have a lot bigger of a time window to use pushing into last. So you can see that Crayon's on 70% Uber, Raptor's only on 40, so they're at 30% disadvantage, but they come in. You can see them isolating targets. They juggle Hildreth here, and then they isolate Crayon, who's on his own with no pocket target. Now the spawners come in, but because they've dealt with the main targets with the stopping power, they just need to secure the frags. They kill the 2 guys that can't help Hildreth on the point. They get another spawner of funds, but they deal with him as well, and then it's just Banny and Samsy left alive. And that's how you properly abuse player advantage, and that was a really nice push from Swift. And the last thing I wanted to talk about from this series was how the mid-fights evolved over the course of this map. Swift have been really dominant with their gully mid so far. They have this double bomb that they do with Banny and Syl. They just completely shut down anything. And Swift, or Lowpander, sorry, they used their sniper heavy mid, where they ran crits to mid really well to shut this down. I mean, it was a bit lucky with some of the earlier shots, but they played it really well. So Syl and Banny go in early, and they both, Banny dies and Ali gets headshot. The heavy deals with Syl as he's trying to overcommit. And then they just focus the frags, and the really nice thing to finish it off is Mr.Epic manages to hit this shot on Raptor just before the shot closes. It's a really nice frag. So I'll just break down how it looks, if I can get a good enough picture. So what they're trying to do here, Swift, they've been doing this all the tournament, and it's just been catching off all of the invite teams. They bomb Banny in early across the point. He pogos into their big door, and then Syl usually follows up over the point doing a bigger jump. And they roll out fast enough to do it so that they put so much damage out, and then Ali's following up along the left side, and they just control the whole mid fight. But what ends up happening with this heavy sniper crits mid rather, as I said, in the Lowpander big door, they've got their heavy and sniper that managed to really shut down the soldier bombs, and with the headshots and the focus fire, they deal with the initial damage dealers, and they just commit to the low ground position. Because Swift have given up their spam classes for the high ground, they can't really abuse the fact that Lowpander are just on the low ground, and that Swift have the whole area of the point to themselves. But what they end up doing on the next mid, which I'll show you, is it this one? Here we go. So Swift adapt. This time they get a lot closer to doing it, because as you'll see, they take Banny and Syl onto the high ground and they just play for spam, so they're using them much better. You can see Syl just spamming, Banny's on the right side, but what ends up happening, I think it'll switch to Banny in a second. So Banny goes for some close range spam because he'll get higher damage with it, but he goes pretty weak. They do get a lot of, you can see Banny putting spam out here, but they put so much damage onto him and he's not playing with Raptor, so they're really struggling to put out the same amount of pressure, even though they are controlling the high ground. Samsy drops to the low ground, which is alright because he gets the frag onto Ubers, but they're not really securing anything, and Funds manages to trade frag. So it's playing out so evenly, and then what ends up happening is, because Lowpander were running crits to mid, that was the one thing that Swift neglected, and Hildreth comes in with the crits, gets the frag onto Raptor, gets the other frag onto Ali, and they win the mid as a result. And then this is the really great part. In the mid that follows directly after this one, Swift adapt their strategy even further, and they manage to overcome this. Over the course of 3 mids, they completely correct their mistake, and it's incredible to see. So this time, they go for the same initial approach, where they have Banny going in from the elbow area, still playing the high ground for spamming, but Banny doesn't commit too long because they know that it wasn't working, and I think you'll see it in a second here. Banny's moving up to choke, and what he's actually doing is wrapping around to the big door, and they're going to coordinate their aggression so that when Banny's coming in from behind, Ali's going forward with the stickies. They're actually 3v5 right now, but they end up winning this mid just because they're focus firing so well. Banny comes in now, as does Ali, and they go in with the focus fire, and they manage to win the mid. It goes down to a 2v1 against Mr. Epic after they focus down the heavy, but he was already weak, and they managed to win this one. 2 players left alive against no one, so really good stuff from Swift. And also, we need to shout out Gentleman John for a lot of the images I've been using from this are tactics.tf, but yeah, I think that was it for this map. So I don't know if we want to take it back to the analysts or how we're doing this, John.
Yeah, that was excellent. Another fantastic
Big
rendition of I believe it's called News at 10, right?
News of the world.
We're going to keep making terrible jokes about it until we find one which sticks, you know?
Yeah, but big shout out to Gentleman John though. He's an unsung legend of TF2. He makes fantasy.tf. He does the all this tactics stuff. So much behind the scenes work. Real legend of the game.
Yeah, definitely. Like we said, you know, he's
Top tier
News
guy.
is broken down. You know, the majority of the key points there. Swift's ability to win the map came from their ability to adapt. You saw it, you know, several mids in a row. Things weren't working. Swift immediately, over the course of that next round, able to fix it.
Yeah.
Next time, it went way better. And this is kind of what other teams seem to be lacking, that direct ability to adapt.
The adaptation.
A lot of teams are, you know, changing. They can adapt within, you know, 2 or 3 rounds. But Swift's able to do it in 1. They're able to make things happen fast and, you know, correct all their little mistakes. So I think we're more or less done with analysis for a little bit. I'm guessing if production is okay, we're going to be going to a break for a while.
Yeah, I think
before
they're
we
distracted by some feedback.
They might possibly be.
I think they've got that.
Production, hello, are we there?
I think chat has noticed that. Follow me on Twitter at David the Win.
At David the Win.
Yes.
Anyway, yes, so this is the last bit of TF2 just finished before the grand finals
Big
at 3
grand
p.m.
final.
So if we're
In
good
2
to
hours
go
and 15
for
minutes.
Yeah, if we're good to go for a break, we'll throw out to that and see you guys in a little bit.
Bye everyone. Follow me on Twitter.